Do my own bell. Man, he's off for a whole month and he's still late. I believe it. A water main break? Who knows? That's usually what it is right there. It is 9:30 on a Thursday night, and you are tuned in to Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing. I had to do my own bell again. This is Chip Chat. Welcome to Chip Chat. I'm Chip. Who are you, Invisible Tez? Oh, I'm Tez. Tez is late because he is held up in traffic in Tacoma Park, I assume, by a protest.
Yes, another protest.
Yeah, it's Tacoma Park. This one presumably led by our good friend, the NIMBY. Yeah, he's upset. He's like, winter, not in my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's winter. It got cold here in Washington.
Yeah, winter. Everyone's saying winter is coming. No, winter is here.
Winter's here. It got super cold here in DC, and nobody likes it.
Of course not, because no one's prepared for it. Everyone's been so used to the DMV having all 4 seasons in a week. But when one particular season stays, it stays. And yeah, old man winter came in, early today.
It's going to be warm again by the weekend, like in the 60s.
Yeah, but for some folks, it's like they still bundle up like they're in Alaska or something like that.
Yeah. So it got cold, which is good because it's getting to be the holidays. We had Thanksgiving. We were off for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving has the nerve to also be on a Thursday again. It's like more stuff trying to counter program us. Damn it, Abraham Lincoln. That guy screwed up a lot of things. Many people are saying, you didn't know this, Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest presidents, but not the greatest. Many people are saying.
Well, one person probably.
Yeah. He freed those turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So much has happened in the last few weeks. Now, usually when we're off, nothing happens because the world pauses when we're not here.
Yes, it freezes.
But yeah, it's like beep, it just stops, and then it waits for us to come back. But this time, that is not what happened. Lots of stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about that. Tez is supposed to be back. He was off for a month or whatever. He was gone for
that sabbatical. Just delays everything for him.
We had him on assignment, and he still just hasn't come back yet. Yeah. But we had several guest hosts who did a good job. And that was pleasant, I guess. I mean, the problem is I was still here, so nobody enjoyed that. But okay, we'll find out where he went on assignment
once he arrives,
when he gets back. We have a guest this week also. Our friend Matt Hall is back. He's going to tell us about holiday deals and his amazing invention, the toilet table. We're going to talk to him about that. We have to ask him about holiday retail and the looming tariff wars. I don't have the sound for that. Boom, boom, boom. Tariff wars.
Well, Mr. Jones took all that, and now it's with the Onion. So
yeah, Alex Jones stole. Well, and also we mentioned it a few times before, but congratulations to our friends at the Onion who took over InfoWars. And presumably will let us have Turbo Force. It's all we're asking for, guys. You can have the whole brand. We just want Turbo Force. And it's 5 different kinds of caffeine.
That no one can find.
I looked it up.
Oh, what's the caffeine?
Yeah, so some of the caffeine that he's claiming is things that are barely traced, like the caffeine in the guarana seed or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not as many kinds. We could only think of 3,
right?
Which was coffee, tea, and chocolate. It's not going to go well together, but that's not going to stop Alex Jones.
Yeah.
So also governments all over the world are falling. Maybe ours is close. We don't know. Joe Biden was behaving like a normal dad for a minute.
Pick my kid.
Yeah, right. And then we're going to talk about sports this week.
Sports.
Yeah, and we often hit on the sports category.
Yeah,
but this is a good week for sports for us to talk about, namely because it's good for me.
Yes.
And I want to talk about it, and it's going to be great. And we're going to make sure Brian doesn't go anywhere near any doors.
Yep.
He's pissed off
about
his purple birds. I was pissed off too because I picked you to win that game. I thought you're at home. You're going to win.
We got issues.
You didn't do the thing.
We got issues. We'll talk about it later.
All right. Well, Andrews can't be your only. You have Likely. Why don't throw the ball to him? I don't understand that.
We did at the end.
At the end.
Oh, here
Very
now he
helpful.
comes.
Did I stall sufficiently?
Sufficiently, yeah.
Hold on. Let's see.
The police gave him an escort.
Dun, 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 dun! I have something special for you in the cooler if you want to check that while you in your triumphant return. Tez is in the building.
I'm sorry.
Don't get too excited. He's barely aware of it himself. Oh, also speaking of sports, I spent Wednesday hanging out with number 89 Santana Moss and several other former Commanders greats. I'm learning to say the name. So it's been pretty exciting. My baby got to high five him, and it was funny because her hands are bigger than him. Santana Moss is a little dude. I mean, for a receiver in particular, little dude. But it was cool to meet him, and he was a very nice guy. So there you go. Hey, who are you?
What's up, buddy? I'm Tez.
Yeah, I forgot what you looked like. It sounded like all of this stuff.
I'm here. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. Where's
Not
your
prepared.
book? Not prepared?
Obviously.
Yeah, naturally. But there you go. Look at that. Defectors without the O.
It's about a topic that we usually talk on here.
The rise of the Latino far right. Oh, I know a lot about this actually by accident.
I could imagine.
Yeah. It's not what I expected to learn from most of the people I hang out with, and being that I understand their radio.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? It's on the radio.
It's the radio.
Yeah. Spanish language talk radio is, if you think Twitter is a cesspool, good Lord.
It's as regulated as us.
Yeah, but it's also as racist as Alabama.
Yeah.
At a phenomenal rate.
And a lot of disinformation.
Yeah.
A lot, like, not it's everywhere, but there.
It's what made Alex Jones, but in Spanish. Right. Alejandro Jones.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm
That's
not gonna.
insane.
It's like
That's
turning
insane.
the frogs gay in Spanish. How would I even say that? Las ranas son homos. I don't know what he would say. What would Alejandro Jones say? Anyway, okay.
This looks delightful.
Yeah. Well, you're back. So, do you have a word? I have to give you your bell back. There you go.
That's good.
Yeah, I haven't got to have mine yet, but yeah, it is good. I've had it before.
I got a word.
Oh, Brian's got a
a
word. Okay, we're gonna do. You want to do the 3 words, or you want to just do the word and let Tez?
Oh, we can do the 3 words if you got words.
Okay, so you want to go 1, 2, 3? How do you want to do that?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
So is it 1, 2, 3?
Well, Brian's gonna go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do I have a word?
I've got one. We'll see.
I got a word.
Okay, you got a word.
Yes.
Okay, so sit back, grab some
Tush push.
It's
Fridge.
Speaker Mike Johnson time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
That did not work.
Sorry.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping up?
All right, so we have a guest this week.
Yes, we do. Returning guest.
Yes. So Matt Hall, he invented the toilet table, the device that we all need, but nobody knew about until our show made him super famous.
Here we go.
Now it's almost Hanukkah, and you can't think about, what to buy for your favorite uncle. Guess what? The toilet table, perfect gift. Yep. And Matt is here to tell us all about it. Matt, welcome back to Chip Chat.
Thank you for having me back on.
Okay, so you want to ask the first question?
You're farming this off to me because
I want to hear you ask it.
Yeah, you want to hear you ask it versus you or me ask it versus
I want to hear you ask.
Shamelessly doing this. So,
yes.
Matt, just to jump right in. So since you've done our show, have you seen a massive uptick in sales?
Oh, it's been huge. It's been so huge.
Don't feed into it. I wish you'd been like, no. Not from you, but from other. Yes, I've seen actual reputable.
Yes, he's seen an increase in sales because of us.
I actually have had more sales since the last time, so there has been improvement.
No, you can't. I just feel weird.
Correlation isn't necessarily causation, but you can't say it's not.
Yes, God.
So, just go ahead, Matt. Tell them about your huge uptick in sales.
Well, I mean, this is my first year, so a huge uptick is a handful of sales every single month, but that's much better than most people do. I mean, I remember hearing, if I remember correctly, I listened to the maker of Dude Wipes say that he didn't even have sales in his first whole year. Now, I could be wrong on that, but, some people just struggle in their first year, and I'm happy to just get anything. So I think I'm doing pretty well, and I'm pretty hopeful for the future, to be honest.
It's one of those things, like, to relate it to music. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, this is somebody's breakout album. They're all of a sudden a big star. But what you don't see is them playing to like 3 people at an open mic for the first 5 years that they were playing those same songs. I can remember there's certain instances where I hear a song that's about like, chasing after a girl or whatever, and the person singing it is married with kids. And you're like, how is this your signature song? It's like, oh, well, I wrote it when I was starting out.
Right. And
it didn't break out until after I had gotten married and had several kids, but the song is a hit.
But it's the whole 10,000 hour type thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're still in like our, 9,000 some odd, whatever.
It reminds me of, you guys listened to 21 Pilots before?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Ode to Sleep. If you ever see that music video, they actually show them playing to 10 people when they first started out and how they moved up along the way.
Yeah.
But so it just reminds me of the same thing. Yeah. You have to start from somewhere.
Right.
Okay. So as a retailer, do you think that this holiday buying frenzy thing that we do makes sense, or wouldn't it be better to sort of spread that out over the year or something like that? What's your take on that?
I mean, the holidays are the time for giving. We're all stuck inside when it's cold, and it's cold out right now. It gives us a reason to do stuff, and I would like all year round, but I don't think that's not realistic. So I'm happy to even have this right now.
When I was a kid, I worked in a hobby store, and we used to have hobby stores. People used to build model airplanes. You believe that?
Hobby store was really dope.
It was.
So really dope,
actually dope, and it made me kind of lightheaded some of the time from all the dope. But
there was a lot, too many things you could actually do. Like you had to kind of pick something that you were going to work. Right?
I loved it. It was like my favorite job because I could cash my check, like at the store, and buy models. So I didn't always come home with money, but I did come home with paint or like 64th scale B-17, and I was really happy about that. But anyway, so but the hobby store, like. We'd be lucky if we had like 2 or 3 sales a day for most of the year.
Right.
And everything depended on like from like October to December.
Yeah.
That was make or break for the entire year to make your rent for the whole year.
Yeah.
that feels like a lot of pressure. And as a retailer, like I can see why they're trying to sort of emphasize other days, create holidays, like create a gift giving around Easter, or create gift giving around dads and grads, and like all of this, because they just like, it seems so compressed, even if the total number of dollars is the same. It just feels so compressed. As somebody who's selling a thing, right, the same thing all the time, do you feel that compression, or do you try to basically come up with reasons that people should buy it all through the year?
I mean, the table is useful all year round, so
right.
I think I have to come up with, since it's my product and it came out of my mind, it's more of, you just gotta work with the medium that you have. This is my table, so I gotta work with it in Christmas. I gotta work with it in January. I gotta work in February. It doesn't matter when. And there's nobody else that can sell it other than me, because I'm the owner. So I have to do everything in my power to make it work. And you have to have a lot of hope and faith that you're going to sell stuff. It's just, that's how it works,
So are you going to have a President's Day sale for the toilet table? I highly recommend it, because I believe the incoming president spends a lot of time on the toilet.
I mean, I would love for somebody to take it up. I mean, I don't, without getting too much into politics, I believe when it comes to business, I've seen too many examples of people getting into politics in business and it not working out too well for them. So I'll steer clear of that. But, I get it. I have my personal opinions. But in general, I think that, eventually it will just click with people. I know that there's people have mindsets that change over time, and they don't quite know how to take in new information. And this is a new product. And it just takes time. We have to have a little bit more patience with people, especially with people who might not get things as quickly as other people do.
So besides us, who's your dream celebrity endorsement for the toilet table? It's like a McConaughey thing.
I'll admit I had this one's a weird one, but it just flashed in my head. Carrot Top.
Yeah,
it seems almost perfect for this kind of product.
He's a good pitch man.
Yeah, I could. That makes a lot of sense.
10, 10, 3, 2, 1 or whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
remember
sense.
That?
Yes. God,
I think that there's certain people who exemplify this sort of lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
McConaughey came to mind because I feel like he's the kind of guy who sits there and like.
I'll admit, I don't know if I'm ever going to go with Kanye, just because, just being a Jewish person, at least I'm half Jewish. You get it. It's
no.
We don't can do his own thing, but I'll hold reserve my views on it.
But it's got to be some. No, you can say it on here. We've
had
that dummy.
Christ.
Okay. Anyway, let's. You want to ask anything serious before I ask these other very stupid questions?
I don't know if they're stupid, but they'll veer in a different direction. I guess thinking more about like the questions around like the marketing of this, and like to your point, like how do you keep this going like all year round? Like what have been strategies I guess you've seen that have kind of worked so far that you're like, oh, I think I can continue to like do this, and this is kind of allowed me to see more sales? And I guess what are other things you're like, oh, I tried this and this didn't really work?
That's a good question.
It does. That's probably the main question right there, to be honest. That's where I've been struggling with. It's like I'm a one-man show, so I don't have anybody I can really lean on or against. And it's the advertising aspect is what I'm butting my head up against, because I'm competing with every other company, every other service that wants other people's attention, and everybody wants money. And you don't know where or which company, if it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Google or Amazon, they all want money. Like Amazon, I don't know if people know it, you got to pay them to advertise. Doesn't mean that they won't put your product on. Doesn't mean they won't put your product on. They'll be happy to put your product on because they charge you for it. But to get it in front of more people's eyes, They then upcharge you, and that's you ever go on there and they say suggested item,
right?
That's somebody's paying to do that. Somebody's paying to suggest it to you.
Oh, this is another random one around again along the same lines. Would you be opposed? Because like as I think of it's like where it could actually like pop, but would you be opposed like if it jumped off like around satire around it?
Oh yeah, if it became
like
a joke.
One of the, like if it was a joke
or
itself,
a meme.
like because that's something also that it makes. I've seen other things take off.
Yeah.
That.
Oh sure.
Well, from the advertising, I found that a lot of young people really like this. Like I put it on TikTok for a little while, and I put the ads out and that kind of stuff, and I got a really good response from like Gen Alpha, Gen Z. They got it immediately. So I could easily try to make it a meme. I don't know how to get or find that skibbity toilet meme or with a head in the toilet. Yeah. I don't get it myself. I'm not that generation, but I'll lean into whatever people want to make it. It's once it's out into the universe, it's not up to me on what other people look at it as. It's up to everybody else.
So in that general direction, do you have anything new to tell us about with the table or some new deals that you have coming out that people want to know about? Yeah. So I will be running a sale this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I might be off on the days. But be 20% off. I have it on Amazon and Walmart. That will be where the sales will be. It's just easier for me in shipping purposes. But they do take a little bit more from me for it. But I want to get the metrics up if possible. Yeah, sure. Okay, and so if you want to get one, go buy it. Well, you can go to the regular website, right? But
you'll give me more money, which I appreciate.
So go to the toilettable.com if you want to just
Bandcamp it.
Get it there. Yeah, right. Do the Bandcamp method. Make sure the artist gets paid.
Yeah.
I don't mind if I want to bring up one more thing. So
yeah, that's why we have you here. Tell us what else you got.
Well, I mean, I was listening to what you were saying earlier on disinformation.
Yeah.
And it's actually been a passion of mine to figure out what's wrong with it. Why is different disinformation around? So I've had a small passion project that I've been working on the side outside of this, which is so you got to be busy. You got to keep yourself busy.
Come on, man.
More time than he knows to do.
Shit.
What you sleep, dude?
Passion project on top of
your. I've been doing fake radio for 10 years, and I don't have any time to do it.
Well, I mean, I've been sitting here, and I've been developing an algorithm for AI software.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course, right? And I sat there for the past about 3 weeks I love physics. I love understanding how things work and putting things together. And our universe is built on logic, and logic can be broken down into numbers. And computers work on numbers, ones and zeros.
Yeah.
So basically, I went and worked with a ChipChat, and I went through my theory of how everything works, and it turned out to be correct from what I could tell. We ran the math, we ran the numbers, I got an algorithm, and I just put it out there for everybody. I just gave it out. I don't want to charge for it. I think that information should be given out for everybody so they can use it themselves. So I just put that out today on my LinkedIn, but it's out there. So I wanted to say that for anybody that wants to listen, I don't know if anybody's listening for that, but in general, I want to try to help as much as I can with disinformation. And honestly, the results that I'm getting back are really good.
So this is a filter that
it's
a bullshit filter? Is that what it is?
How does it attack disinformation?
So AI, the problem with AI right now is that it has faulty math. The better the math, the better the information that comes out.
That's
kind of like
or the math is biased by the creator in various directions or whatever.
Exactly. So the better
what creates more hallucinations, right? Or things
exactly. So you get lies, and you get it wouldn't even be lies. Like we interpret it as lies, but it's incorrect information.
Right.
So the better the quality of the organization and an understanding of the universe and the laws and everything that work within it, the better that information will come out. So that math code increases I look today, ChatGPT, the owners, I forget who the owner is, Sam Altman. Yeah. Altman. He was just coming out today saying that he has a new software that he's going to be charging $200 a month for. And you know what that was going to be based off of? Most likely my math. because I just put it on there. It upgraded his entire fucking system. Sorry. Entire system.
You can say anything you want here. You can fucking cuss.
That's why I put it out, because I don't want people benefiting in that way off of it. It should be for everybody. There shouldn't be a paywall for it. So he probably doesn't even know it's mine either. Not that I'm trying to take credit for all of his work. Of course, it's not all my work by any sense. I just think that I can.
We'll support you. So what's it called and how do we use it?
It's the Hope Framework. It's on my LinkedIn. I put it out there. I like, if you go there, I've posted multiple things. It's come up with answers to problems. I don't want to go into too much craziness, but there's I might sound crazy, but it is revolutionary. Like, it's gonna change everything. Literally everything. It's bigger than my toilet table, and I'm focused on my toilet table.
Right. I know. I was gonna say wouldn't expect.
It wouldn't even be the.
It's like I stumbled into it.
World-changing news on this show, so
some future day how AI is going to change everything.
Well, it is how it is, right?
Take this away. There was something I heard on the radio today that the AI was better at predicting the weather than some of the big models that like ChatGPT was, and it was apparently super good at the 15-day forecast. This was its sweet spot,
which is a crazy sweet spot.
It's because it's hard.
Oh, that's very difficult.
It's hard to be accurate past 3 or 4 days. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the thing. So do we go and use it and we just ask it what's the meaning of life?
So I made a whole paper up. The ChatGPT helped me write a paper. So it's my theory. It didn't make my theory for me. So I went through, worked through the theory, created the math, and it helped me write the mathematical paper that I put on LinkedIn. All you have to do is download the paper, stick it into ChatGPT, and say, hey, can you use this to answer a question for me? And you can ask it whatever question you want, and it should be able to give you a very good answer to almost any problem you have. And it doesn't matter kind of what problem. If you have, I was looking at elements, the whole universe can be explained from, dark matter to, spinnings of the galaxies to the sun and the earth, all the way down to the elements that we're made out of, all the way down to little particles. We're all built on time is really what it comes down to. It's dimensional. So the top dimension is a time-space dimension, then a space dimension, then a time particle dimension, and then a looping dimension that locks it all in place. It's just how it all works. And if the AI has that in there, it has the ability to understand how the atomic elements work and get put together. So for the future, for cleaner energy sources, we could use this model to give us better outcomes. It could help with chaos theory. So if there is chaotic events like wars, we could be predictive in nature and try to figure out how to stop wars in the future. We can prevent we can prevent hunger. We could prevent all kinds of. We could prolong life.
All that sounds really good and
crazy.
Important.
It sounds crazy. I'll admit that.
No, it sounds good and important. We want to do those things, but let's hear. This is what. Okay, you're our resident smarty pants. You know how to use technology and stuff, and I don't. So here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Is your assignment. You're going to finally actually contribute to the show.
Yeah, right.
You're going to download this thing and put it in Tez GPT. Okay, and then you're going to ask it, how do we get ChipChat in front of more people, make us more famous? Okay, and then whatever it says, then we do that.
Okay, it should be helpful. And what you do is it's a refining model. So keep asking it questions. If you don't like the answer, refine it down. Just point out what you don't like and say, hey, I want it written this way, or I want it done this way, or I would like to do something else. So it'll give you the first information, and then it'll just keep refining like a funnel system, which you just keep making it until you get the answer that you want. It will give it to you.
Also, check and see how to beat Ohio for every game for the rest of
it. I don't know if it can be predictive that way, but
right. Yeah. All right. Well, never mind that. We'll see you later. Do that. No. Obviously, the solution to beating Ohio is to keep Ryan Day as their head coach. So, okay, we do want to ask about real things. Also, right. The toilet table, of course, here is made in the USA, but many things like possibly the plastic that it's made of, or even the machines that make it aren't made in the USA, or have components that aren't. And Trump has proposed massive import tariffs on basically everything with almost no regard for how tariffs actually work. So as someone who's in manufacturing, what do you think of tariffs in general, and what the possibility of these sort of looming trade barriers, what is that going to do to people like you who make things for a living?
I admit I'm a little worried about all of it, but I think everything will work out in the end. It's just that there will be some downtime in between. You know, like for this toilet table, I keep pointing over this side, but this toilet table, I have screws that I manufactured probably overseas for them. It's the only thing that I have made over there was a foresight when I got the molds made. But, you know, it's like there's going to be a lot of hurt from trade wars, just because, you know, as soon as the tariffs get into place, a person like me is going to have to pay a whole lot more for the screws, which then I have to tack that cost right back onto the product,
Right.
which will then, you know, I mean, now I could eat some of the cost if I can put it into an already overpriced product, if there is overpricing. But a lot of people are working on small margins. So what they're going to do is just raise costs across the board, most likely. So,
Yeah,
but it's going to happen in both sides. So but I also understand tariffs too. In some cases, when you look at China, like if you look at TikTok, it's okay that it's here, but at the same time, they don't allow Facebook over there. So it's not a direct competition, and we do have to protect ourselves too. But there should be some kind of balance, and we have to not really start wars like this. We should be working together more than we should be fighting. That's, at least in my opinion. But
yeah, I think,
you know, I'm not in charge.
well, but you're sort of getting to an important point that I think a lot of people sort of misunderstand. I would say intentionally misunderstand about tariffs, is that the purpose of the tariff, especially when it comes to commodity items, let's talk about lumber, steel, any of these kind of things where it doesn't really matter where it's produced, it's all the same, is to make price parity happen. So if, let's say, Canada can produce lumber at a far cheaper rate than America for various reasons, you know, natural or otherwise, why wouldn't the builder buy his lumber from Canada as opposed to from Georgia, unless you artificially increase the price of the Canadian lumber to equal that of the American lumber? So that's the thing that people really not understanding, is that the purpose of the tariff is to raise the price of the cheaper good to the same price that it would have to cost to the consumer if it was domestically produced, which means you have no cheaper option. You have to buy the expensive domestically produced item. That is the purpose of the tariff.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be tricky. And I mean, we could go back, I guess we're going 30, 40 years now of allowing, though, China into the global market. And that, like, again, I saw, as I read on that and look back, I say, oh, I see what the vision is, and what I've even been guilty of looking at all the good that something could happen, but failing to realize, refusing to look at all of the bad that could be managing people. Right. But in this case, I think that was no one took into account that is a different system of government. And to like Matt's point, like, they are allowed, they can do different things being autocratic, right?
Yeah.
They can be like, yo, all right, well, yeah, we're not doing that.
We're going to move a city out of the way and have a goddamn Olympics.
Exactly. It doesn't, so like,
shut your factories down so the air is nicer for that Wednesday.
It can never be fair in a sense with the, like, and right, I don't think global trade we don't know if they're looking for it to really be fair, but there needs to be, like, you can't flood the market like with something like
the
like
whole
that.
purpose of
or the EVs cars, that they're able to do that differently than
there's always going to be difference,
there
right?
Is.
Canada's got massive forests; they can produce timber at an ungodly rate. We don't
burning them down.
Yeah, but like, it's all of these things. You're not growing sugar in North Dakota,
right?
Okay, it's not physically possible. You are growing it in Brazil or wherever. So, like, it's all of these things where the global economy mostly will eventually sort itself out, like Matt's talking about. But
each place specializes is really what it comes down to.
Things are going to specialize, and labor is the only thing that doesn't seem to move in the global economy, right? Services, money, products, production, all of those things move around, but labor somehow is the thing that we don't let move because it's called immigration and everybody hates that. But if you know, the result of that is you've got low cost environments where you can produce things at lower prices. And you got high cost environments where you can't produce them at those prices. And all of that is at the end what we as consumers pay. And all of these people who don't understand that, but voted for this thing that is going to happen to raise their costs, their actual cost of living.
I just look at it as every action has a consequence, and it will work itself out in the end. I think there's a lot of people freaking out about. I mean, we should be worried. We should always try to strive to be better, but I mean, it will get better. I always look at that. But like going back to China, like a good example that I believe Tez brought up was like the cars, and one of the things that the reason why we probably are putting that over there isn't just because of price. I get people are hurting for money right now. Like a lot of people are hurting for money. So like seeing cheap cars is like, how could they take that away? But there's national security concern. Our car manufacturers, which a lot of people forget, aren't just car manufacturers. They're the ones that make our tanks. They're the ones that make our military vehicles. So the government will not let them fail. They just like they won't let Boeing fail. They have to keep it competitive. And that's how the competition works. So there's certain companies out there why they call them too big to fail, like the banks. It's just because if they did fail, the whole society fails. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it, but it's like there's probably a better solution than this. But
I don't like the sound of society failing. I know some people are down for that.
Yeah, no, I don't like that either.
That's not kind of what I like. Look,
how do we make the toilet table one of those level of, on the same level of GM or Boeing?
Oh, that'd be nice.
That's it's like, hey, look, I know that this is an expensive product, but
like imagine like
if people don't have their toilet tables, national security is at risk.
Federal government buys it; it's in every federal building.
That's right. Yeah, get it on the GSA schedule, man. It's made in America. It's legal.
They say half the business is done in the bathroom, right? I mean,
LBJ famously did like a lot of meetings on the can.
Elon Musk tweets on the can. Donald Trump tweets on the can. I mean, they probably love it. I mean, I'm sure Biden does too. I mean, everybody does.
Blaming liberal.
Right. Everybody needs it because that's where they're doing all the look. Nobody's lying. Well, they are lying if they say they don't. You go in there. You got time. Get your emails done. You're working. I mean, you may as well. But it's better if you got a place to set your tablet.
One in five people drop their phones in the toilet. 1 in 5.
That's like
20%.
There's no arguing on that one.
No, I mean, I don't want to give any more money to cell phone companies than I have to. I mean, that's just it's no offense to them. I'm sure they hate this product if that's the case. But I mean,
what if they gave you a deal? Right? They could integrate charging ports. I think if you had a wireless charging port integrated to this thing, it sells itself tomorrow. I'm
open to Apple buying and calling the iTable if they want. I mean,
always open to that.
Yeah.
No, it's turning down that note.
Okay, so on that note, Matt, where can people get the toilet table? Because it is December, right? People have to buy gifts for everybody or themselves. Let's be honest, everybody uses these sales.
Nobody has one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and right, nobody else has this, so they got to get it from you. Where are they going to? And also, if you give this to one of your friends or relatives, they're going to look at you a little sideways, and then they're going to write you the best thank you letter they've ever written. Because
you have one, you like it, right?
I love it.
That's half the point.
it is a product that you didn't know you needed, but the second you have it, you can't live without it.
Use it. It's just you'll end up using it for something, whatever it is for. You'll use it for it.
So okay. So where can everybody get one?
Yeah. So you can find one at my website, toilettable.com. You can go on Amazon, on Walmart. I think I have this thing on eBay, and I think you can find it through Google searching. I should be one of the top searches. I'm trying everything as much as and best as I can. But again, advertising is tough, so you probably haven't seen it. If you want to go to the local farmers market near me, you can see it set up there. That's my first setup.
Hey.
But I also have a TikTok channel, a YouTube channel. I'm trying everything. I'm trying everything, basically.
Well, there you go. So go to toilettable.com, get yours now. Because you got a bundle deal. Can you get like several?
Yeah, you can get a couple. There's special deals on my website for bundles with extra money off for each one. So it's for the bundle price, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully you live in a house with several bathrooms, so you're not fighting over it.
Just remember the space. The only thing I'll tell people is that you need about 1 foot of space next to your bathroom. So some bathrooms can't fit it. I admit that. Maybe I'll make one in the future that like pops up to the side like a airplane.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I know.
Or like those desks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many different like this can in the future. Like for anybody that's listening, if they want to invest. Like I can put a team logos on there. So you want Michigan logo on there.
Oh,
you want stuff like that. Now, granted, I need to get permissions to do that. But if you want your logo next to your toilet, every time you go to the bathroom, it could be there.
I'll make some phone calls. We'll get you all over Ann Arbor in a minute. I can get that to happen. Okay. Go to toilettable.com and go follow Matt on LinkedIn as well. So you can get his cool world-changing AI, and then
for free.
Remember, for free. And remember, the most important thing to do with that is figure out how to make this show more successful. Okay, Matt, we're going to take a break. We're going to let you get back to inventing more cool stuff when you apparently have all this time. I don't know how you. I don't think I should know people like this. That's what I think.
Insane,
it's
right?
not normal for that kind
Crazy
of thing to happen.
I admit, I before the AI thing, I wouldn't have gone into it. It's more of like it just fell into place. It lined up. The stars lined up, and it worked. So,
see,
I admit I'm not the smartest person in the world. I don't want to take away from the science or the scientists. I don't take credit for anybody else's work. It's just I think it's useful. Is really what it is.
That's all we need. Okay, we're gonna take Tez has one more question.
Sure.
Oh,
not so much a question.
Oh no.
Eat meat and be happy. Recipes for more meat diet.
There you go. It'll give you a reason to use the toilet table. You'll be spending more time there. Okay. We're going to take a break so we can go check on ours. Thank you, Matt, for hanging out with us.
Thank you, guys.
ChipChat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps. Thanks, man.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm a gal who likes it in the tush. What I'm saying is I'm a backdoor girl. I don't ever need any lube, so just nail me, don't be a rube. I'll just bend over and hopefully I'm screwed. I know what I'm saying is scandalous, but only because they can't handle this. But sex is something I can never resist. I'm a girl who likes it in the pooper. Hey, pal, if you're humming, that'd be super. Hey, man, come on and be a trooper. Just shut up and put your willy right in my pooper. Hey, fella, are you going my way? Drive me down the dirt highway. Keep on driving, don't be shy. I like it in the pooper till the day I die. Please tell me you're getting my point. Grab me now, don't disappoint. Do it now, or I'll be at my angriest. Maybe I'm being a bit too coy. I need a man, oh, don't need a boy. I need a tool to hit my pancreas. Ooh, I know what I'm saying is scandalous, gal who likes it in the pooper. Hey, pal, if you're hung, that'd be super. Hey, man, come on and be a trooper. Just shut up and put your willy right in my poop.
I'm gonna shit with me is tits.
What's pooping y'all?
How's your pancreas?
That's insane.
What
This
a
is
line.
Poison the
What a line.
poison the airwaves with what we just played.
What a line.
That was created by aforementioned AI. Yo, out of control.
That was an incredible song, Brian. Go to toilettable.com and get something.
I mean, I don't know.
It fits.
I don't know if it fits.
No. That's not. No. Oh God. If somebody skips the breaks and just listens to the show, they're gonna be really confused.
So confused.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop all the clocks.
Yeah.
Clocks.
That's the book.
Yeah.
Who wrote that one?
A novel. Noah Kuman.
No. Do you know a Kuman?
No, I don't know Noah Kuman.
All right. Now we've come to the part of the show called The Rundown. This is where I tell you about some stuff that's going on in the news. If we were professionals, it would sound a little something like this.
From Beltway Radio and beyond in Washington, D.C., I'm Emmy-nominated TV newsman and just bona fide sexual beast, J. Scott Smith. And this is the part of the show where I tell some stuff about maybe not me, but somebody else is going to tell some stuff about what's happening in the news. So what's going on in the news, fellas?
Thanks, Jay. Welcome back to Long and Obnoxious.
Right. I was hoping that it would say, I know it wasn't going to do that, but it would say something about the pooper. That song is insane. What did it? How does AI shit this shit out?
I do want to say once again that my favorite part of all of this is watching your reaction to every one of these things. It's not even the song itself. It's you having trouble with it.
Like, what? Where are we?
I don't know. Check your list of weird books.
I wish.
This is the thing that the internet is scraping to create songs like that.
I wish that we could go back to time reading newspapers and everybody watching network television.
You just want to flush this out of your system?
Simpler times. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
This one's called What's Under Those Robes.
Obviously, because that's where you go after that.
Yeah, now,
obviously, the
as a regular human being, I do not give a fuck what's under somebody else's robes.
No.
Because it's not my business, and that's not how the world should work.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Republicans are very concerned about what's under your pants.
You can tell they're a bunch of friggin' what do you call it? Stall gazing. Instead of focusing on they're a big stall gazing energy versus focusing on your own what you came to do and leave. Like,
get your tasks done, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
Straight
toilet
ahead.
table in the public bathrooms.
Exactly.
Just get in, get out.
Right.
Okay, so there was a approximately 2.5-hour argument at the Supreme Court.
Yes.
To argue about this Tennessee gender affirming ban. So here's the basic things you need to know is that there's a series of medical treatments, and for this purposes, we're going to refer to them as drugs because they're not all exactly drugs, but basically they're things that can be prescribed to people for various reasons.
Right.
And they are things like puberty blockers or hormones. And they are sometimes prescribed to people for things like endometriosis or early onset puberty or late onset puberty and various other endocrine problems that somebody might have that they need these kind of treatments. And they are widely available and pretty well known and well used. Yeah. Even Major League Baseball had a big scandal with everybody using human growth hormone, which is in this same class of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some doctors who are using these same safe and otherwise frequently prescribed medications for people who are suffering from gender dysphoria, where they are not feeling the gender that they are, or the sex that they're assigned at birth does not match their gender identity.
Right.
And so one of the things that the doctors will do or can do is they can prescribe some of these blockers to give that person time to decide if this is really the path that they want to go down before some irreparable harm, like turning into the wrong kind of person that you don't feel you are, is done.
Right.
So the Republicans have decided that the real irreparable harm are these totally reversible, non-irreparable, very reparable, very repairable drugs, that those are the dangerous things because they do some sort of long-term damage, which again, to be very clear, they don't. They don't do any damage. As far as anybody can tell, these things are pretty useful for a lot of other stuff.
Right.
They don't do any damage. What they do is prevent things from happening, which could, by many people's definition, be considered damage.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't feel like a woman and you start going through the various changes that would make you into a woman, that's damage. That's not what you wanted. That's not how you want to be.
Right.
So at issue is a Tennessee law that said that you can't prescribe these to minors, and that's even with parental consent, which is a weird thing there. And it's a law that there's the same basic law on the books in about 25 states. It's nearly half of the states. So this got to the Supreme Court, where there was one side supported by the Biden administration was arguing that, hey, this violates the 14th Amendment.
Right. Equal protection.
And that it discriminates based on sex, because if you were to prescribe the same drug to somebody who identifies as a woman who is going through endometriosis and needs these drugs to cope with that terrible chronic pain, that's fine. But to give it to somebody else who is going through anything else, that's not fine. That's obviously some discrimination. Okay, that was the basic argument. Here's what really happened with this, and this was what, on Tuesday?
Tuesday,
I guess.
Oh, arguments Tuesday.
Yeah, so the families challenging the law, which is similar to bans approved in more than 20 other states, argue that it discriminates based on a person's sex or transgender status. That's because a teenager whose sex assigned at birth is male may be given testosterone to treat delayed puberty, but a teenager assigned female at birth who wants testosterone to treat gender dysphoria may not have it. That does seem like it meets the definition of sex discrimination.
Yeah.
Most of the court didn't apparently see it that way, but they asked a lot of dumb questions anyway.
There's some good questions too.
There were some good questions. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So, if the Sixth Circuit said that the extra scrutiny isn't required in an opinion to express reluctance about the courts getting involved in the issue. So there was a lot of this, like, hey, we don't really know what we're doing. We shouldn't be the ones making this decision. Roberts at pains to say this.
Went down that route.
He's like, look, we're woefully ill-equipped to handle this.
I think
right about that.
Which he is. I think the court does like to say, like, this should be pushing it back on policy from, which sounds like it's like, what would Congress pass? But Congress doesn't pass anything. So it's like that doesn't end up being.
Beer Can Brett was basically saying this is a legislative problem, not a court
exactly.
problem.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably where they're going to try to find so that they can just not touch this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I thought Alito was just kind of out of pocket with his immutable question. Like,
he's such an idiot.
I don't know why.
Put the argument on a flag. Maybe he'll pay attention.
Right. It was just a really like I don't know what he was trying to. I guess I could see where the legal portion of that is that, oh, does this fall under like a protective group, right? Like, is that, because that's also too how I would understand. I thought Ketanji was trying to get to that a little bit as well. It's like, all right, if we're talking about the 14th Amendment, its idea is outside of protecting corporations, but the idea is to actually like protect vulnerable groups. I thought, like,
Yeah, or at
or-
least to prevent anybody from being able to single them out and discriminate.
exactly
Yeah.
right. And
You can't do for one without being able to do for everybody.
exactly. And I also just thought, like, those questions around if a boy was, I don't know, let's just say he was 7 years old and had beards like me and you, and like maybe he was just like, yo, it was growing. And he's like, I kind of want to slow that down.
Yeah.
Like, what if
That
if
would
that's
be fine.
okay?
Then they would give it to him.
Yeah, then that's not fair. Like that it goes against the actual whole like idea of like equal protection under the law.
Yeah, and it's singling out the other group.
Yeah, the other
for
group,
something that's an immutable characteristic.
which is a small group as well.
It is.
too.
Yes.
So that's also where I feel like even the idea of government, I thought, was to protect groups like that from the majority from being able to force their will on that
Imagine if
group.
it was like
I don't understand. I thought that is what, but I don't know. Maybe I'm
imagine
dealing in
a say
different facts.
Muslim majority county that or
Yeah,
state
right.
that wanted to sort of preach to the small Christian group that lived in that state. And wouldn't Alito lose his ever-loving mind over protecting? We have
crazy.
to protect the minority group here, and they need equal access to all this stuff, and they can't be boxed out by somebody who disagrees with their belief structure or whatever. He would. I mean, the shoe on the other foot argument is very obvious, but they don't care about that. Also, interestingly, Gorsuch didn't say
yes,
a damn thing.
which makes me think he might go the route of I went before, I guess it was in 2020 around the workplace discrimination. Right?
Yeah, so Neil Gorsuch was like, he's the guy who's him and Roberts, but he's the one who wrote the opinion that said you can't discriminate against transgender people at work. Which is it, and at the time, people were like, oh, okay, maybe this guy's kind of cutting a different path. I don't think that really was where he was on that at all. I think he was taking an extremely literalist position, and that is the way the 14th Amendment is written.
Yeah.
And even when it doesn't serve his personal political interests, he wants to stick to the text because he's a textualist or whatever. It's also the same way he looked at that treaty issue with Oklahoma, that all of it belongs to the Indians. So, but he didn't say anything. He did his best Clarence Thomas impression. Another thing here is that Ketanji Brown Jackson was kind of brought up an important thing. Here's things you need to know about the Supreme Court. There are 2 Black justices. One is Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's a decent human being with the capacity to love and understand other people. And then there's neighbor Clarence, who is the opposite of that. But both
he
of
loves
them,
certain people.
But both of them have something in common.
Yes, they do. They're significant others.
They're married to white people.
Yeah.
And both of them live in Virginia.
Loving in Virginia.
which is the state where the loving decision, Virginia is for lovers.
Yeah.
The loving decision, which did involve the state of Virginia, which banned interracial marriage, and a couple whose last name happened to be Lovin, which is just the
so
best
good.
poetic justice
It's
you
so
could imagine.
good.
Was like, hey, we want to get married. And Virginia was like, no, you can't. And the Supreme Court found actually they can, because the 14th Amendment says you can't exclude anybody from the availability of anything else. And that's the same argument that lands in Obergefell that Kennedy cited when protecting same-sex marriage in the United States.
Because those things are they are the law. Like marriage is the law.
Marriage is a legal issue.
Yeah.
It's
so
not a
equal
love
protection
issue.
under the law
Right.
falls under that.
KBJ was like, hey, if this works and you guys uphold the Tennessee ban and it allows them to do this,
20 other states with it.
And all the other ones, you're kind of undermining the 14th Amendment wholesale in its equal protection under the law issue, which could very definitely undermine Obergefell because that's where they want it to go. But hey, you idiots, could undermine Loving. And while I would love to see Clarence and Ginny split, because I think maybe he'd wake up. I don't know. I have hope. I hold out hope.
Right, maybe.
Brother Clarence, come back to us. But
please.
But
put the Panther back on the wall.
Yeah. We'll help you grow out your fro.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, man. He lives right around the corner.
He's so gone. There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way now. Power is
like I
intoxicating.
buy better bread than he does. That's what's happening right now.
Look. I will still say he's the most powerful black man in America.
Yeah, with his Wonder Bread.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, what would happen if Loving gets obliterated?
Well, be up to Virginia. Could Virginia? I mean, they wouldn't reinstate the law, but
it would. It's still on the books, as far as I know.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I would snap back into place. What else would snap back into place, Clarence?
I know. Look,
that land you live on, your folks used to. Never mind.
Look, I mean, this is the thing that that's an interesting thing you bring up as well, because it just shows how actual democracy in this country is only really happens after the Civil War in 13, 14, 15th Amendment.
Right.
And then obviously going in with 19th, women having the right.
Women having the right to vote is sort of the last piece.
And then the civil rights.
The civil rights laws.
To finally tie the knot of all of that together.
Yeah, that use statute to enforce what the Constitution
has. But the 14th Amendment,
without the 14th Amendment, we don't actually have democracy.
We don't have any democracy here.
No.
And it's just, and I find that to be some of the craziest things like ever written when it comes to like self-governing bodies, because along with that is, hope no one switches, that whole birthright citizenship that's included in that. And that's like, again, that equal protection of the law combined with if you're born here, you're a citizen, is just unheard of.
It's really like precedent setting around the world, right? And it is, we've talked about it on the show all the time, that it is apparently a very uniquely American thing.
Yeah.
A thing that you and I have argued about several times, that as an American who's born here and who's always had that, I can't really get my head around this idea that you could be born in England and not English.
I cannot be not English. Like that doesn't work like that.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't even compute.
It doesn't compute.
Right.
So it is remarkable. I would say that the 14th Amendment, in a way, sort of is similar to the Constitution itself, in that it is a big leap forward, and it is born of trauma.
Right. Yeah.
So you suffer this like
huge,
dangerous, bad thing like colonialism.
Yeah.
And being a white American colonist and being like, no, you can't tell me what to do. And it comes to a war.
Right.
You write a very sweeping response. If the Constitution had developed more slowly over time and been built on, in pieces, the way like England doesn't have a constitution, right, but they sort of developed a system over time, it would be less sweeping. It would be less broad. But this is like, oh, fuck no. We're doing everything.
All this shit down.
Yeah, we're going to have not just freedom of the press, but like massive protection for that shit. And like, don't you dare put soldiers in our houses ever again.
Yeah.
It just
a crazy response.
It is like a divorce letter.
Yeah. And
the 14th Amendment is that too.
Yeah. It's from we are transitioning.
We hate this thing that we just dealt with.
13th, we're no longer doing that.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing that shit anymore.
Never again.
That is
over. We're going to go way past where you might have got to otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, we're not doing that unless you're a criminal. Forgot, because that is definitely
we leave a little room in
that. But like 14th, again, all right, cool. Everybody, and also too, there is a Civil Rights Act that is passed during that time as well too. Obviously, it wasn't enforced, but like they were thinking through all of these things and it's crazy to that amendment, how it's still like the through line for so many things,
and that we're still fighting about that.
Yeah,
because equality is apparently the thing that bothers a lot of this country.
Yeah,
and it's obvious. And you can see it all the time, right?
And they knew writing this. They knew that's
why they had to put it there
immediately,
not just by law, but they had to put it in the Constitution.
Yeah, because you can't free a population, incorporate them into society,
and leave the possibility that they could be re-enslaved.
Right. Yeah, and it has to be something on the books that says, oh, we also protect everybody.
Yeah, right. So speaking of protecting people,
oh God,
here's a guy who probably should have had a little bit of protection.
Detail.
Didn't have one. Okay, so Dateline, New York. So this guy, what's his name?
Joseph?
No,
No, that's the
Thompson.
detective.
Yeah,
Brian Thompson.
yeah, Brian Thompson. He's a guy from Minnesota, pretty unassuming looking. You know, it's a picture of him there in his bro quarter zip.
Yep.
And he's walking through New York, and somebody shoots him, and he dies.
Yeah, he's going to a conference. He's targeted attack.
Yeah, well, and so people are like, oh, well, who cares about that? It's like a very sort of big city crime story or whatever, but it's not that, right?
No,
it's not that at all.
He's CEO of United Healthcare.
Right. He's the CEO of United Healthcare, and the guy who killed him, took the train there, knew exactly where he was going to be, popped up, went to Starbucks.
Right.
Then waited for him to walk in front of him because he knew where he was going to do the conference, shot him in the back with a pistol with silencers on it, with bullets with words inscribed on them.
Like healthcare denial words.
And then he just jumped on a
city bike and got out.
Apparently it wasn't a city bike. It was somebody else's bike. But he had it there, or he knew it was there, and he just zipped off into Central Park and melted away.
And no one's found him.
And nobody knows where he is. So the NYPD's on a massive manhunt.
And this dollar amount, hey friends,
10,000.
You guys are sick.
Come on.
People are how cold is it in New York right now?
Yeah.
You think people are coming outside trying to figure this shit out right now for $10,000?
Okay, so
Crazy.
here's the thing. The guy
feels like 15 in New York.
There's a lot of competing theories about what's behind this, and we don't know yet.
There's nothing. Everything is speculation, reckless speculation,
rampant speculation all over the place, and it could be like a lot of things, right? There's the obvious thing that everybody's onto is like a John Q sort of thing, right? That his kid was denied health care by United Healthcare at some point, and he vowed to take it out on the CEO, and he got good at this particular pistol and waited for him, and he tracked his movements, and all that's totally possible to make for a great movie, and it might be that. It very well might be that. Also might be like a Russian ransomware thing that they paid 2 ransoms and they didn't pay the 3rd one, and they wanted to teach them a damn lesson, and they used the inscription on the bullets as a ruse. Could be his wife put a hitman up to it because she didn't seem too bothered by the fact that he was dead, and apparently they haven't been living together for several years.
Many things.
It could be that he slept with the wrong guy's wife.
Right.
And he put a hit on her. It could be the mob. It could be he owed somebody money. Could be a lot of things.
Right.
But one of the things that I think is kind of interesting about this story, apart from the actual manhunt thing, is the kind of reaction that people are having to it.
Very interesting.
Quite a lot of people are like, good. Not good. I mean, just to be clear about that. We don't murder people just because they helm a multinational billion-dollar operation that kills people for money. Now, I'm not saying that's what insurance does, but it's not what it does.
Not far from it. But isn't it similar to when some of those assassination attempts happen, and I feel like you were a little more callous towards those and being like, I think it's the same thing. It's still we can't be out here and there's a lot of because I traffic it now. The new's popular. Blue Sky.
We're pioneers.
But it's interesting just to see it explode.
We have a story about that.
Yeah, yes, a little later. But people saying this is how the eat the rich piece starts and all that, and some folks have seemed to clamor for this man being murdered, and I think as a society, you just can't get to a point where. And I don't think it's the masses that are thinking that way. I think most people are
no,
but it's enough people where you're kind of
if it happens a couple more times though, it becomes a thing. This is vigilante justice. No matter how you cook it,
right?
Okay, and we can't have that in a country where we believe in a rule of law, and it's not the rule of law when this kind of thing is happening.
No.
And it is a problem. I dare say that this is sort of the consequence of an incoming administration that wants to have a lawless society, where the country is a volatile mix at the moment. People are deciding their grocery stores based on their partisan politics. The country is splitting apart in the most mundane ways and in the most profound ways. And these kinds of things are easy examples, whether they're real or not, that people can point to and say, oh, this is the thing. whatever the thing you want to ascribe to it is, this is the thing. This is the problem with for-profit medicine in this country. It is that. Okay, this is the problem with people being too rich and feeling entitled to do God knows what. Maybe that's what got him in trouble. It is that too. This is the problem with having access to too many guns in this goddamn country.
Yeah.
It is that too. It is this problem with the oversharing and pervasive use of social media and explaining where everybody is all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody can move safely. You know, this is what happens when you have a hyper violent society that's just sort of used to watching these kind of movies. It's anything you want.
I think you could even look at something like COVID, where that might have desensitized like the society around death.
Yeah.
Like people, I don't know if that like death.
People hadn't seen that many people die since a war.
And after you see it, like, it's a coping mechanism. I think eventually you just try to numb yourself to it. And like, I think some of that is where we're at as well.
I know that I personally have become more glib as things have gone on. And I'm sitting here saying, like, watching people who voted for Trump be impacted or about to be impacted by things that he is going to do or has said he's going to do that are going to hurt them physically, like take away their Medicare or whatever. And I'm sitting there going, good, you know, and I don't know that I would have been that however many years ago.
I'm not doing that.
But I am doing that, and I'm not the only one. There's quite a lot of us who are just like, you know what? They fucking earned it. And this guy, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know.
There's no, I mean, the fact, here's my thing as well, too. New York City is a heavy surveillance city.
That's
like,
that's the other aspect here.
And maybe I mean, it's been early. This broke this morning, I think, right?
No, it was yesterday, but they. So as of this afternoon, NYPD's released a few images who they say might be the shooter. You know, his face was covered in the one picture they had of him from Starbucks. But it's hard to imagine anybody moving with anonymity in America anymore, and definitely not in New York City. There's more cameras there than you could possibly imagine. It's like London, you know.
Yeah.
It's just.
Especially post 9/11, like, come on.
It just doesn't seem feasible to me that this person can disappear so readily unless he either knows the system so well that he can disappear like that, which is possible.
It is possible.
Or he's got a little help, whether that's individuals or just sort of a prevailing attitude of like, this isn't the thing we want to go after. I said it earlier today that, like, if it turns out this is a John Q situation, his kid died because they were denied health care by United, and this dude, like, openly admits, he's like, yeah, that's why I shot him. There's not a jury in the country that would convict him. Because, like, you know, did you shoot him? Yeah, I fucking shot him. And I did it because my kid would be alive if it weren't for him. Hey, man, not guilty. Like, nobody's voting to convict that guy.
I don't know.
Not 12.
Not 12.
Not unanimous 12.
Yeah, not a 12.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, there might just be a kind of like attitude about this.
I don't know. I mean, I think there'll be more that comes out on this. It's a very wild story, but I just don't know.
It's salacious. It's sensational.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's got so much room for speculation. Just everybody should tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, but it's not going to tone down. It's only going to ratchet up. That's just that's like, again, enjoy the next, I keep counting down. What are we at? Like 50 days, I think, 49 days.
Something like that.
Yeah, just like get ready. Cause like, it's not like,
it's going to be the thing. We've seen this.
I'm not.
Yeah. We know the chaos and everything.
I will not be here MLK weekend.
We're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but like I'm a little numb to some of that. I just like this is us doing the like nuance thing. The story to me is the reaction people are having. It's not the actual story or even the speculation about it. It's the reaction that people are having. And watching people who are otherwise good people sort of openly express happiness over violence. Yeah, it's I don't know what I feel about that, but
I know where
that
comes from. I know where it comes from.
I mean,
I
it's
get
a natural feeling.
I get where it comes from, but I guess in the sense like do I look at the CEO as the CEO is a smaller player in bigger things that cause the reaction that folks are having, right?
Right.
And like
this guy is successful at running this company. He might have been just as successful running a public health operation that wasn't a for-profit.
Right.
You know, maybe he's just good at running big operations.
And a board is coming to go find the CEO for like United Healthcare. It's not
it's not like
he ain't build this from the fucking ground.
Yeah, it's not in his garage.
Yeah.
He didn't invent health insurance.
Yeah, and I don't know. We can't just get comfortable with folks murdering people in cold blood.
But I do worry that this kind of thing inspires and that there's copycats.
But also too,
but there's more of this.
But if America's been doing this, I mean, we just got back to trying to assassinate presidents. We just got back. We just got back to that. Before, like, that wasn't wild. People
that was the thing that happened all the time.
The thing that happened.
Yeah, McKinley got shot, twice.
Right. So, like, I think maybe I think the generation that goes post-Cold War has been fortunate enough, and I know some people will argue with, like, the wars in Iraq and the wars in Afghanistan, but relative peace, in the sense. And I mean, there's been
no existential threat.
And I think the internal threats are like, again, domestic violence also tamped down as well. And maybe we're just seeing a resurgence of what has always kind of been a quintessential American thing.
Oh, great. God bless America.
God bless America.
All right, we're going to take a break.
There we go.
When we come back, we're going to do some more stuff about America because that's where we live now. For right now. Yeah. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life? Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. I don't like a frogs. Gay. Friggin' frogs. Frogs. Friggin' frog crap. Won't you fight the frogs? It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Frogs. Place one. Your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. Your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. My children aren't going hungry. I'll do it. I'll drink your blood. And I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up? I'm gonna haul him up by chain. Chop his ass up, size it up. I'm gonna haul him up by chain. Chop, 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 chop. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, I killed a cow out back, baby. You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. That's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get my hands around your throat. There's no video of President Trump sucking a ding dong. And so what if there was? That's a lot better than World War III, Owen.
What?
I never sucked any ding dongs. But I'll tell you, if they were going to blackmail me to start World War III about one, I'd say, hey, I sucked a golf ball through a freaking garden hose.
Didn't you already tell Der Spiegel that?
Now, the son of a bitch walked in there in my own office when I'd splattered stuff on myself and I was changing shirts. He goes, oh, that's a good shot. Let's get your shirts. And then he goes, I go, hey, have some of this chicken and sausage. So technically, I said, Jones offered me his sausage. Yeah, give me a break, you son of a bitch. I like women, not men. And if I like men, I'd be proud of it. I'd have a lot of them. But I ain't ever been in bed with no man. I've been in bed with probably 300 women. And you sons of bitches sit there and you play these games, and I'm sick of it. So.
Okay. Wow. What? What are you showing the people here?
Hey, you guys bring your AI. I bring my AJ. I clipped the end of that, and you sons of bitches.
Don't fall through
Singing your lies.
nose.
And he slaps his table. Oh,
That's the onions table now.
that is the other table now. Oh my.
Wow.
Turning the frogs gay.
Right, it all ties together.
Yeah. Now I get it. Yeah, he was really he just wanted his own frogs. He wanted to suck the frogs.
Stop World War III.
That's the
Hey,
that's a really likely scenario, right?
Nuclear Armageddon happens.
Yeah, the world powers are about to go to war with each other. All the nukes are pointing at each other. There's one man that can save us, but he's going to have to do something he really doesn't want to do. But that he seems to be willing to talk about a lot and has thought about how to do.
That'll be two people, but him and that guy from the Fire Island Festival.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to let World War III happen. It's not a thing. I don't care. If we're already that close and it's coming down to me. Don't
count on me.
No, please don't. Speaking of people you shouldn't count on.
Oh, God.
Okay, we're going to start with the easy one. This guy's called Chad Chronister.
Yeah.
Trump picked him to be the head of the DEA. That's the Drug Enforcement Administration.
Cabinet of Dummies.
Cabinet of Dummies. That's the name of this segment. Now, this guy's previous qualifications is he was the sheriff of Hillsborough County, which is Tampa.
Ugh.
And he was appointed that job by Rick Scott, who is
Ugh.
currently senator.
Oh,
And-
all this sounds very...
Currently Medicare fraud convict. But
Florida man.
Sure. Florida, he is the ultimate Florida man. And Chad was like, I think this might be a little bit too big for me. I have no experience to do this, and that's why I'm stepping down. But it is definitely not because I enforced basic safety during COVID, and all of the right-wing lunatics said they're going to kill me if I don't drop out. It was definitely not that. It was definitely just slept on it and thought, you know what, this is too big a deal.
Yeah.
And so he's fine. It is not because Marjorie said she was going to bench press him. Okay, here's the good one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rewind the Wayback Machine a little bit to just like tell a story about a guy. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Oh,
Brian.
good. There you go.
So this guy's name is Pete, and Pete joins the army, or Army Guard actually, and he goes on to fight in Iraq, and he gets pretty terrified over there, as happens to a lot of the people who went over, and he comes back and, like many returning vets, develops or enhances a drinking problem.
Yeah, not uncommon.
Not uncommon, right? And he's got a lot of time to kill. He's not really doing anything, and he doesn't want to be alone with his thoughts, and so he turns to booze. So far, sounds kind of like us, right? I mean, we could be that.
Yeah,
we've done that. You've had a free, probably not since we've had kids, but you've been like, I got nothing else to do. Why don't we get drunk?
Yeah, simple.
Let's do it, right? Sounds like fun. He goes on to do this for quite a while.
Right.
He also, unlike Alex Jones, loves the ladies. And he's, he's not thinking about ways to end World War III, but he is thinking about ways to, get grabby or, sexually violent with various people.
Yeah.
Which he successfully does a lot. And, but he gets married and or maybe he was married before he went on deployment, but he ends up, basically drinking away his marriage and gets divorced.
Yeah.
And, like many young people, he turns to his mom. Hey, Mom, I'm going through it right now. I could really use some help, really use some support and all of that. And his mom, was like, no.
Yeah.
You have
Quote is crazy.
Yeah, you have made, go ahead and read it.
So a Time story this week cites an email from Penelope. He pronounces it Hegseth, right?
Hegseth,
written in 2018, telling her son, quote, on behalf of all the women, and I know it's many, you have abused in some way, I say get some help and take an honest look at yourself.
Right. So she's like, no, dude, I can't help you. You've got your own problems.
And then it goes in the second quote here is, he's not the man he was.
Well,
that was his, not
said.
her mother.
So,
yes.
Okay. So that's what she wrote in the email.
Yeah.
Now, Pete does not, in fact, clean up his act, but he does get a fancy new job, right? He leads several veterans organizations, one of which he bankrupts. The other one, they take away from him before he bankrupts it. He spends all their money. He gets caught drinking in all kinds of places. I can't believe there's not video of this, but there are reports of him closing down a bar at 2:30 in the morning in I think North Carolina, chanting "Death to all Muslims." Sounds pretty much.
And look, if you're closing down a bar at 2 a.m., cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Not really going to say too much about that.
No, we are not in a position to criticize that.
Death to all Muslims.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
You and I pretty handy with the
Yes.
booze,
Yeah.
we can get down. We know how to close down bars.
Yes.
Certainly know how to hang out.
Yes.
Right. We do a lot of things, but even at our drunkest,
I'm not. Yeah, I don't feel
have
that
we committed
inside.
random bits of racism.
Yeah,
or
I don't
anything
feel
like
that
that
inside of me.
We'd probably be singing,
Yeah,
or carrying on singing "Eat Your Leftist Ass" like corn on the cob. We'll hit our favorite jams because
Yes.
our favorite jams are bangers.
yes.
But I don't think I've ever drunkenly committed racism.
No.
So, but Pete did, and a bunch of people mentioned it. Now they didn't want to go on the record, but
Right.
they did tell various reporters. So the Times has stories about this. New Yorker has stories about this. Several news outlets have stories about this. Also, he paid a woman that he had sex with to not talk about it. Now we're not totally clear about what happened there. She says that he raped her while her husband and kids were in a hotel room a few rooms down. He says it was consensual, but that he was blackout drunk and can't really remember. Totally normal. All of this is like, this isn't very big of a story if this is just some guy, right? We all know somebody in our lives who's kind of like this, right? Whatever. And you just think of them as like, this is a bad person. You don't want to spend a lot of time with them. And they're just kind of like drunk idiot that you just don't want to be near. But you still just keep them at a distance.
And I've been during times pretty drunk, but I've never still even then.
Nope.
I'll even lean to say I've been blackout once or twice.
Oh yeah.
But maybe more. But I've never went down the line of rape or assault.
No.
Or I'm just kind of like, this one I'm just trying to get home and I'm worried about myself.
Yeah. Blackout Chip is really good at getting home. And landing on the floor. But home. And he doesn't do anything. He's the least threatening version of me there is.
I'm just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, and I become super polite, very deferential. It's like, I'm just really sorry. I just want to get home. But no, Pete was like, no, you're going to do this now.
Crazy.
So, all this is like, whatever. Okay, but then he gets a new job.
Yeah.
And that job is on television. And it's on Fox News, on Fox and Friends. And he starts out as being a commentary guy, because
Military,
he's military background and he'd served in the war and stuff. But eventually they make him a host, and hey, being a TV star comes with a lot of access, a lot of people inviting you to parties and stuff. And you're kind of like, you don't have to manage your own affairs very often. You kind of have people around you. So what does Pete do? He's like, yeah, I'm going to just keep drinking beer and like hanging out. There's some story of them that they had beers out for a segment, right? They left them out there and they were out there for like an hour and a half. The show wraps and Pete drinks all the beers. And they're like room temperature stale, sitting out there.
Crazy.
And he's just like, boop, 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 boop. And it's like 5 of them. And like at 10 in the morning.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Okay, 10 in the morning and you're at the parking lot at a football game and
Different
5 beers, totally okay. That's fine because you're there for that.
Yeah.
But you're not at work.
Yeah.
So Pete's got this job on TV. He's a alcoholic probably. He certainly can't behave himself. I mean, it's like whatever. All right, he's a TV guy. He's like we all know that there's like TV stars who are bad people or womanizers or whatever, movie stars. It's kind of like rock star stuff. They're all like that, right? You're surprised when you find out they're not.
Right.
Problem is, Trump picked this drunk idiot who rapes people to be the Secretary of Defense. That's a problem because, we have jobs.
Yeah.
But they turn off after a certain time of day.
This does not turn off.
The Secretary of Defense does not turn off. So if I get a call late on a Friday night and I'm pretty hammered, I do have a job where like that could happen. I can mostly find a way to talk my way out of it. It's not going to end in like a Capitol being toppled.
Right.
But Pete, if he was SecDef, oh yeah, that's not a place you can be drunk like ever. There's no off.
Yeah.
You work in government. If you're in charge of a giant bureaucracy like the Pentagon of 3 million workers, you're not off.
You get word that they're gonna friggin' do a tactical nuclear strike in Kyiv and you're drunk.
Yeah. Woo! Light that candle.
Finally.
All I can think of is that moment that George W. was reading a book to some kids.
Crazy. I'll never forget that.
He's reading a book to kids in a school and somebody comes in and whispers in his ear that the towers have been hit. And like the look on his face, because he was like, I just was reading books to kids and I'm not even good at reading. And then, okay, it's time to put on your big boy pants and do the thing. But Pete's going to be hammered, so he's not going to be ready to do it. So like, a lot of people are a little worried. They're like, don't, maybe Pete's not the right guy.
He's not going to get confirmed. And
he's got an ace in the hole. Like any troubled young man with a drinking problem, like any good alpha male who always gets his stuff done, because he's a good, upstanding, what does he do? He calls his mom.
Yeah.
Mommy, they're being mean to me. They keep writing down all the things I did and then selling them to other people to read. Sometimes they're not even selling them. They're just selling them and putting them out there. And she's like, well, yeah, I mean, you did those things, Pete, didn't you? And he's like, well, yeah, but I still want the cool job. Mommy, help. Now, the same woman who wrote
2018
in 2018 on behalf of all the women, and I know it's many, that you have abused in some way, I say, get some help and take an honest look at yourself. From that same person comes this quote. He's not that man he was 7 years ago, and I'm not that mother.
The latter is the weirder part. I'm not that mother.
They were going through a very difficult divorce. There's emotions. I wrote that in haste with deep emotions as a parent.
Huh? So you
pinning that thing as a parent. That's going to come up later. Yeah, she's a flip flopper. Can't trust her. Cannot trust a flip flopper. I don't know. So you say he's not going to get confirmed. This is a big fucking problem. No. You cannot nominate people like this. And of course, this is going to happen, and it keeps happening with Trump's picks because he's not vetting any of them. He's just looking at the TV going, I like the way that guy said that thing. Pick him.
I mean, also, too, if you put someone like that in charge of the Pentagon, I mean, there have already been issues in the military with women and between women and men. And if the Secretary of Defense is kind of, I mean, from what we just went over.
So not only is he a drunk rapist, but also he has two key things that he really likes to hammer on in his books and in his speeches and everything else. One is integrating the army was a bad idea.
No, it won the war.
It did win the war.
It's won every war. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just start there. Every war, it's won it. Revolutionary War, okay, like
Maybe less.
maybe less, but like outside of that, like Civil War, yeah,
Very definitely.
World War I, I mean, but still a decent amount. World War II, like
The bombers don't make it to Berlin without the Tuskegee Airmen clearing the field for them.
yeah,
It just doesn't happen. Not only, it's not just them. It's like the entire, like Ike saw this and he goes, oh yeah, this is an obvious thing. We have half this population we're not using. Like, just put them in the army. The other thing he says, speaking of half of the population, is women shouldn't serve in combat.
Yes, that's his other one. Yep.
He likes them serving. There's apparently a story of him being so drunk that he jumped up on the stage at a strip club and tried to dance with the strippers.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys,
okay.
that
plus everything else.
disqualifies him.
Dude to dude.
That disqualifies him.
buddy. Nah,
What
man.
the hell?
No,
If I saw
no,
that,
no.
first of all,
I
I'd be
would
looking around
pretend I don't know him,
to the security
and I'd leave. I don't care. I don't
You
know
can-
how he got here. He didn't come with me.
Yeah, no.
No.
Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Can't do that.
What?
Yeah. So he says women can't serve in combat, which, is objectively stupid because, first of all, they want to. And if they meet the qualifications, why shouldn't they?
Right.
Because that's how a merit-based system works. And also that's how the fucking army works, is we need people. So recruitment is already tough enough. But also,
Come one, come all.
if you haven't learned, not like that,
Oh,
Pete Hegseth is
sorry,
listening.
sorry.
But if you haven't learned anything about like the last two wars that we were in, having women there was super valuable for intelligence.
Yes.
Because there are whole parts of the world that think like Pete Hegseth, where men can't talk to women.
So you need to, yeah.
You
exactly.
need women there if you want to ask them, hey, did you see which way this guy went? Because the man can't ask them. They won't talk to him, but they will talk to a woman. Hey, idiot, you want to win? I mean, like, this is just like fundamental shit. Do you want to ever be good at anything? You're bad at everything. You're bad at drinking. You're bad at axe throwing. You're bad at being a husband. You're bad at being a boyfriend. You're bad at like keeping your hands to your fucking self. You're bad on television. You can't write. You need your mommy to do everything for you to get you a job. You're asking your mom to get you a job? How old are you? 15? What is going on here?
I didn't know. And also, too, like, kind of related to this, like, Fox just sponsoring mothers lately? Elon's mom was on there. She was
Yeah.
talking about how,
All these alphas need their mommies.
Yeah.
Have you run to your mommy about anything in the last, since you've been an adult? Maybe parenting advice.
yeah, there's been things there, yes.
Yeah.
But
I don't
not,
call
not
her
to
to, like-
save me or that specifically, not to come and save me from shit that, like, I had to own myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Trouble
not-
that you got yourself into.
No.
As a matter of
definitely
fact, I probably don't tell my
Don't
mom
tell
about
my
that
own.
stuff.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Get out of it.
And then I might talk about it like,
Or I
or
don't
never
ever
say
tell
it.
her
Yeah,
about
exactly.
it ever.
Yeah.
I just don't. Don't tell mom about the dangerous thing that you dealt with.
Yeah.
Just because then she just worries and whatever. Okay, so you say he's not going to get confirmed.
I don't think he gets confirmed.
You think he'll withdraw?
But then I wonder, where do we get to if all these people aren't getting confirmed?
DeSantis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That I did hear that.
Yeah. So
DeSantis.
there's this question is like, is this sort of 3D chess, right? He's putting the worst cases forward so that he can get everybody's like, all right, well, we won't take them and we'll put this other guy who's also objectively terrible, but at least competent. And competent and terrible is worse than incompetent and terrible because they can do more damage. Is it all a trick, or is it just like it's operating off of instinct? I like that guy on TV, put him in the
It has
job or
always
whatever.
been that. Though.
Yeah. He's not actually thinking ahead. It's just gets fucking dumb luck all the time.
Exactly.
Okay. This one's called MAGA Mike Needs to Be Careful. So the last race was finally called this week for the House, right? Democrat Adam Gray won California's 13th congressional district. He won with a mere 187 votes.
That's insane.
It came down to 187 votes. That's a very slim
That's so
margin,
slim.
but that's how democracy works, right? So that puts him in. Now, MAGA Mike already had a pretty slim majority. He needs 218 to govern.
Yep.
He's losing Matt Gaetz.
Yep, because
He's losing Stefanik.
Yep.
And he's losing Ratcliffe. So he's losing 3. So when all is done here, he has a 2-vote majority.
Yeah,
It's-
come
it's-
January 6th, I
come-
guess.
come January 1.
Once it gets sworn.
Yeah, so he has a 2-vote majority, which is enough to make him speaker, but that's only if everybody shows up, nobody's sick,
That's what
nobody's
yeah.
kids are sick. You know, like this is a large group of people to have nobody miss a vote. If you have to govern that way, it means that your schedule gets really elongated or really compressed
Yeah.
based on when people are available. Some of these people live in far-flung districts, so they need like that extra time to travel. It is already a chaotic situation getting anything through the House, even on the best of days.
Yeah.
But we've already seen this. And so like they asked Johnson about it. They're like, what are you going to do? He's like, we've governed with a slim majority before. We'll do it again. I was like,
That's not true.
but you didn't govern.
Yeah.
Mike. You didn't govern. You know who governed? Hakeem Jeffries governed.
Yeah.
You did what he told you to do because he had a unified caucus that would vote. And you had a bunch of fractured idiots who were always at battle with each other and fighting over who got the best parking space or some other dumb shit like that. Fucking idiot. I can't wait to see this happen. But if you do work for the government, I'm sorry, there will be a CR passed around Christmas time. It'll get you through March, and then you are just not going back to work. They're not getting a budget through. Imagine if they do it and it comes with majority Democrat votes and Trump has to sign it. Think he's going to do it?
Did he do it in 18 though? In going into 18 and 19?
Yeah, he signed CRs.
He signed CRs. So I think they know that's not a winning issue. I mean, and they'll and he likes to make a deal. So are we just gonna go back to we're gonna just go? It's gonna be
Nancy,
the same,
or as I call her, Nancy.
It's gonna be the same reruns again. Like
This is such a dumb,
it's so dumb
fucking story.
It's about to be really insane because we're gonna run. It's gonna be reruns all over again.
This is the thing where I'm saying I'm kind of numb to it, right? Because like all this cabinet stuff, and it's like, oh, breaking news, Trump's cabinet. I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of expected that. It's not breaking news anymore because like the stupid and the chaos isn't surprising anymore.
I mean, he's still the president-elect though, and
It's a script though. We're used to it. It'd be like breaking news. Lethal Weapon star says, I'm getting too old for this shit. Like that's his only line, right? Danny Glover announces he's too old for shit. Right. Of course. That's his job, isn't it? Yeah. So like Trump's out there causing chaos. It's breaking news, chaos in the Trump transition. Somebody, Boris Epstein selling access. Yeah. And
yeah, not unexpected.
what's the weather today?
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck? Get to something I actually care about. This is the same thing.
I feel you.
I feel like, so just to put everybody in knows, this show's going to have to shift. Like, I don't want to even really cover it if it's just going to be dumb.
Yeah.
It's not going to be funny.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be funny.
I mean, Drunk Pete Hegseth is kind of funny, but it's not as funny as like, you know, Alex Jones's shit getting sold to the Onion. That's funnier.
That is funny.
But this isn't funny. I don't like that. I don't want to do a show about not funny. So we have to pick new things to talk about.
I mean, but there will be news that might not be actual news we would like to report on. But
Yeah,
it's
we're
gonna
going to
happen.
have to do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Joey B pardoned Hunter. Okay, so this is that thing where I mentioned, you know, parenting. Oh, he's a good boy, don't it? Well, apparently, if Penelope Hegseth says that her boy is a good boy, that's fine. But if Joe Biden cares about his kid, not fine. Okay, he pardoned Hunter. Here's the things that you got to know. It was a pretty sweeping pardon.
Was a sweeping pardon.
It was pretty broad. It covered a lot of things.
A lot of years.
Yeah. It even covers things that nobody's accused him of yet.
Yeah.
Okay. One, this doesn't change a goddamn thing about how Trump is going to behave. So all these people, Tom Nichols, who's like, oh, you just opened the door for, No. He was already going to do all of the worst stuff you could possibly imagine. He didn't need to see somebody else also be hypocritical.
I think what it gives, though, is just he can allow to his base to be like, look at them, look at the left. Like,
he already was going to do that.
But then this becomes a little more, it feels more tangible because it's an actual pardon. Like, that they will use.
He pardoned Bannon, he pardoned
Flynn.
Yeah, Flynn, and he pardoned Manafort and all these other guys,
Stone.
sold secrets to the goddamn Russians. And he's like, yeah, he didn't need Biden to do something that's admittedly pretty self-serving, and I don't know if corrupt is exactly the right word, but it's because he's not making any money off of it. But
I think the real thing is just that the way the Biden administration went about this and just
they trapped themselves.
It's just not. It wasn't smart.
Yeah,
like just not smart.
They're like, look, you can't call the Justice Department corrupt. Even my own son is getting prosecuted, and I'm not going to lift a finger to help him because that's a rule of law in this country, and we believe in that shit. And then it's like, well, yeah, but okay. So should Joey B preemptively pardon all the folks that he can think of that Trump might falsely accuse of things, like journalists or members of Congress or us? Like he could do that. Should he do that? Would it?
I want him to pardon Marilyn Mosby.
Yeah,
that's been like cried out for a while.
Well, there's several people who even in any administration, at the end of it, people would be complaining and were like, yeah, you need to use your powers to do this thing. But I'm talking about Trump has said he wants to go after, and Kash Patel is be in charge of the FBI or whatever. He wants to go after the FBI. He wants to go after the members of Congress that voted to impeach him. He wants to put Adam Schiff in jail or whatever. Should he preemptively pardon Adam Schiff?
I just don't know
that from happening.
The way you would need to do this is with a team and strategy, and I just don't believe
you don't think
that
there's enough time.
I don't believe there are people in that White House that are thinking that way. I think some people will get pardoned, but
I'm thinking that way. Call me.
I think there could be a serious look at what the Supreme Court has said, the executive branch powers the executive branch has, and specific people that might get targeted in the next administration. There's a way to look at that and do that, but they should have been thinking about this a lot longer. And that just goes back into the whole thing of when asked about Hunter, should have just kind of been more vague, or
or said nothing. I don't want to comment on it.
Or you could have been blunt and been because I think there's a calculus that if you'd have said that you tanked the election any more than it already was tanked for you, or you end up tanking it for Kamala. But I also think you might have people almost respect it differently.
I think he couldn't have said that he was going to do it because people, already fighting against this idea of corrupt, Biden crime family or whatever bullshit. And if you're trying to get some of these moderate votes in the middle, that's the way they were thinking.
But the moderate votes didn't end up coming.
They don't exist. They don't
exist.
I keep telling you that doesn't exist. You believed they exist.
They're there for specific candidates.
Yeah,
that's what they're there for.
Okay. But I don't know. To your point, I don't think that there's enough time or capacity to really gather up all the people and make the list. And even if you do, okay, so you pardon them, it doesn't stop him from sending the IRS after them, or also
Press Act would be nice to get passed.
To be very clear about the way I believe the Trump administration is going to behave, it won't matter if somebody's got a pardon or a court protection or anything. I think he's going to order that people be, extrajudicially detained or whatever. And it's going to come down to whether a group of people within an agency are willing to execute what they know to be an unlawful order.
Or it's going to come down to the 9 people on the Supreme Court.
No, but it doesn't matter because they're going to say, oh, you can't do that. And he's going to be like, you in what army? And then he's just going to do it. He's going to order somebody to do it. He's not going to physically do it. He's going to order somebody to do it. And he's going to see, if you're not going to do it, I'll fire you and put somebody who will. And we'll end up with a government of fucking Enrique Tarrios. You can call him up. All right. Will pardoning Hunter opened the door for Joe Biden to do more things like SEAL Team 6?
No, because
No.
he's Joe Biden.
Would you do it?
No.
Okay. So you're Joe Biden too.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell we doing?
Would you pardon your kid as a
Yeah,
parent?
I mean, your whole job as a parent is to protect your children.
100%.
There's no other option.
It's not really even
What the hell are
up
we
for
talking
debate.
about? Like, what the fuck is we talking about? Like,
Of course
crazy.
you would.
What the hell is going on? And I'm the president?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he planned to pardon them all along?
Yes.
That's
That's
it.
why I'm very frustrated with this. Like, because you could have made your same argument you made after you pardoned him 6 months ago. But like, no, I don't. I just,
They were
This-
after him because of who he is.
yeah, exactly. And
And he lied on a form. He didn't like commit some sort of major violent act or steal a bunch of money.
you have that right as the executive to do that.
Whether I
The
agree
pardon
that they should or
power
not,
is
absolute.
is
It
absolute.
does exist. Yeah, that is true.
So, the fuck are we talking about?
Okay, you want to talk about governments in other countries?
Yeah, not really, because it's not good.
No. Okay, France. You know, there's a place called France.
Yes.
It's right across the channel from your place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a train that goes there.
Yeah, there's a train and tunnel.
Eurostar.
So France is a weird kind of government, right? They have a parliament, but they also have a president,
Yeah.
and the parliament has ministers and has a prime minister,
Right,
and so
right.
it sort of functions like a parliamentary system, but with a president who has a lot of power over
Yeah.
there. And one of the things that they can do is they have this like emergency legislation thing where basically if the parliament can't agree on something and the president wants it to happen, there's an avenue through which you just say, okay, we're calling it an emergency and we're putting it in. And they can't really stop it unless they vote no confidence.
Right.
Now, for a long time, France has been mostly a two-system party, just like the United States. And that has basically allowed or prevented a no confidence thing from happening, a vote from happening. So therefore, the emergency powers have been used fairly routinely
Yeah.
in French modern history. And so a lot of this stuff has happened before. But now, because Macron called this weird election randomly in the middle of the year this year, the majority that he had is now a plurality of his party, which is the sort of centrist governing party. And the far left and the far right
Right.
now actually make up a slight majority of the parliament if they're together.
They're here to fuck shit up.
And they are here to fuck shit up. It is
They're united in fucking shit.
it is pretty clear that they don't have much of an agenda apart from their own, parochial interests.
Yeah.
But their major national agenda is fuck shit up.
Could say just as French in general.
Yeah, I mean the French are pretty into fucking shit up.
Yeah.
But they voted for these people to fuck shit up.
They did.
And so they needed a budget and they couldn't get the budget passed. And so the prime minister's like, I got no choice. I got to use the emergency power. We got to, move this along. And they're like, hey, buddy, no confidence. So what happens, right? It's a no confidence vote. The government falls. It's hand in your resignation as prime minister and all your ministers have to resign. And now if this was Britain, they would call an election.
Yeah,
They
but
can't do that in France. They're not allowed to call an election until like June, because they've got all these rules about how many elections you can have in a year. And Macron already used up his election this year. So now they have to like appoint a caretaker government and just kind of run things. But these guys can fuck shit up again. Like they can continue
Yeah.
to do this. And there's no sort of governing coalition.
that majority is still there.
Yeah. And more to come.
Yeah, I don't like.
This is a big problem, though. Let's couple that with what happened just next door in Germany,
Yeah,
that their government is falling apart too. They're no confidencing themselves. It's not good. Right at the time that we've got a big problem of Trump coming in, and we're going to need to turn to Europe to basically run
Oh,
the world
yeah.
for a little while, like we did the last time. They're not in a great spot to do that. They've been tainted by this far right autocracy nonsense that we're dealing with.
they
We're
also
fighting it
were.
off.
They're also their economies didn't run as smooth as we were able to do coming
Right.
out of COVID. So
They didn't
that-
have that rampant growth. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
inflation. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, growth. I mean, wait, what's the difference again?
It's all about
Join
the
us
soft
on
landing.
Marketplace.
It's a soft landing.
Soft landing. Way to go.
So
Soon to be fired, J Pal.
crazy that like
We can give him a job here. J Pal, you are so welcome on this show.
yeah.
You have your number one super fan right here.
Yeah, he's not gonna say much though. Well, no, maybe
No,
not.
he'll be
he's not
liberated. He
pension,
can
yeah.
say whatever he wants.
That's true.
And talk about the Grateful Dead for 3 hours. We can do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Tez is your biggest fan, J
Yeah,
Pal.
come on.
Yeah. We'll pay in Bitcoin. All right. So also on the other side of the world, though, South Korea
That was unexpected.
went through a brief self-coup, maybe?
Self-coup.
It's not totally clear.
Presidential takeover, maybe, I guess. Kind of, I don't know.
Presidential tantrum, I think, is
Tantrum
probably
is
the right
more
way
so, yeah.
to put it. So they have a president. Their system works a little more similarly to ours and makes sense. They have a two-system party as well.
The fact that that's even happening, where it's like we're the reason that South Korea is like
A country.
country.
Yeah, because
We still have people stationed there.
yeah, protecting them from the dangerous communists. So the president there, who has a very slim majority and is not very well liked and is maybe also a rapist, so pretty similar to our guy, he was like, hey, again, I need to pass a budget. And the legislature was like, no, we don't like this stuff that you're proposing. We're not voting for it. And instead of trying to negotiate it or even going through a government
I'm
shutdown,
tired of democracy.
he's like, you know what? Democracy's run its course, which in South Korea is only since 1987.
Right.
So it's pretty recent. He's like, democracy's run its course. In fact, these guys are agents of North Korea.
Of course.
I'm calling martial fucking law. And he landed helicopters on the Capitol and deployed 300 troops and was like, no democracy action allowed, ever. Allowed. Not even thinking about it. And they were like, what? And it was the middle of the night, too.
Yeah, it was a late night move that he did this.
So everybody in Seoul was like, what the fuck is going on? And we don't even know, we don't have words for this. And people still alive who remember when this last happened. And they're like,
not today.
the people of South Korea were like, this is not going to happen.
Not today.
So the legislature, which contains a lot of the president's own party people, unanimously voted to overturn his martial law declaration and then immediately voted to impeach him for doing that dumb shit. So it lasted 6 hours. Everybody came out in the streets. They're still out in the streets right now in the hundreds of thousands.
Because you can't really be sure once something like that is said
that he's not going to do it again.
You got to get out there and mobilize as a country to be like, we're not going for this.
They are not going for it. And it is a remarkable victory for the people in this instance, but it portends something very dangerous.
Be careful.
And we should be paying attention to this because these guys all operate off of a playbook. Okay. And it's not like Matt Eberflus's playbook. It sometimes works. Okay. You have to, they know when to call a timeout.
That was terrible.
That was
I
crazy.
watched that live. I was
like, what is happening?
What is going on? I was
run
screaming at
a
the
play with
television
11 seconds
like
for
I
whatever
still
reason.
like this damn sport like that. And I'm like, what are you doing? Crazy.
Well, he's got plenty of time out now.
Breaking news. This just in, the Detroit Lions barely beat the Green Bay Packers 34-31 with the game-winning field goal.
Wow.
So,
wow. Well, it proves they have some vulnerability.
And they officially clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah.
NFC North is tough though.
It is. We didn't think it was going to be this year.
No, but it's tough.
Thought the Lions were going to run away with it, but it turns out that the Vikings are better than we thought, and that Green Bay is. It's the injuries.
Yeah.
If Green Bay doesn't get injured, they're very good.
Yeah.
Right? Jordan Love's pretty good if he's healthy. Okay, back on task. So that was crazy. Speaking of the world, there's a thing called Miss Universe, and a blonde,
still doing that?
A blonde, blue-eyed lady won it, and she's pretty, and
she's from Denmark,
so it means she doesn't speak any real language, and nobody this is kind of like, this is a not big deal, I guess. Who cares, right? Why is this on the show, Brian?
Well, pretty much it was the statement after the fact. So the CEO or holder of the
Jakra Jutopik.
Yes.
Jutop-tip?
Yeah. It's a
Didn't
very
Trump
interesting name.
own this shit?
Yes.
It's a Thai name. So she's taken over the Miss Universe pageant since 2016.
2016, yeah.
And pretty much she mentioned the word evolution because initially there was a one of the PR or not PR, one of the pressers asked, we're back to this, and she said, well, there's now an evolution because pretty much recently the Miss Universe pageant had not, I would say in the last 10 years, non-whites winning.
Oh wow!
So
wait a minute, the universe isn't white.
Yeah. Of course, there's been a trans person who's been participating in the pageant.
Isn't
and speaking
the lady who runs the thing trans?
And she is trans as well. So there is I think a lot of the right wingers feel that the word evolution.
Yeah, they hate that word.
They hate that word, and especially since the fact it's like, well, we got a blonde and blue-eyed woman now. We're back in the track, and it's like, no, things have kind of changed. So
if we have to trick them, let's do this.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like,
yes, you got your way.
Yes, and also the fact that like the runner-up is Nigerian. So
wow, okay.
So it's Nigerian or Senegal, one or two, but it's a solid black woman. So there is a good change.
Like Yolanda Robinson,
I guess.
Margaret Robinson's wife.
Right. Oh God.
But carry on. But there's some blue sky in the head.
Well, yeah. So, but like the sort of story, non-story here is that like this pageant that seems to have made a lot of progressive movement and improved things, for a lot of other people and made it more accessible, then does a thing where maybe objectively she won, by the rules of, I don't know how these pageants even
Can you
work.
give me the breaking news again?
Breaking news.
Okay. You got breaking news.
Hold on. Yes. All right. So, I'm making sure I can get into my liberal New York Times account here.
Failing New York
Times. I'm sorry. Yeah, this just in. Literally,
they caught the guy.
No, this just in maybe less than 30 minutes ago. Biden team considers blanket pardons before Trump promised retribution.
He's listening to the show.
There it is.
Dude,
White House officials believe President. There is.
That is proof that Joe Biden listens to this show. That's right.
Yeah. This idea, this idea would preemptively extend executive clemency to a list of current and former government officials for any possible crimes over a period of years, effectively short-circuiting that. So here we go. So maybe I'm short. Maybe I'm selling the president short.
You underestimated Joe from Scranton, the guy who stood up to Corn Pop. You don't know how tough that guy can be. He's gonna pardon his Corvette. Try to slash the tires. Put his aviators on.
And
fuck yeah! Now, Joey, do the other thing. You know you want to do it. Do the thing, Joey. Do it. He's listening to the show. Joey, do it. SEAL Team 6, just do it. You have immunity now. Just do it. Just do it. Make Kamala do it. She'll do it. Do it. Yes. Fuck yeah. He listens to the show. Okay. Your thing is back. Old Twitter is back.
I got thoughts. Yes, but yeah.
Okay. The story here is that a bunch of journalists and activists and stuff, we as activists, let's say, who were early adopters of the blue sky.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout out to J. Scott Smith.
Right. Got you your invite.
I'm in it now too.
Oh, Brian finally joined. Welcome to the bandwagon. So we joined the Blue Sky where we
a year ago. I feel like it might be a little over a year. I've been using it as a sign off for a long time.
And they have like 4 staff members. It's a very tiny 20, operation. And we all joined it kind of hoping that it would be old Twitter.
Right. And it was not that in the beginning.
It was not that. And it barely worked. And it was kind of like wonky and we didn't really know how to do it. But they fixed a lot of that stuff after Biz left, because Biz was apparently holding him back for whatever reason. But there are some reporters who are saying that this is essentially functioning for them a bit like how Twitter used to function for us back in the early 2010s, where journalists are using this as a place to break news, to source things, to get things out, and people are turning to it as a trusted. Now, I got to say, my timeline on Blue Sky is a mix of that stuff and also left-wing crazy bullshit.
Yes,
I mean, it is some.
I'm glad you said it.
And
the fact that you said that.
I'm the one out here talking about blanket pardons and SEAL Team 6 and people and shit. And I'm like, yo, you guys are like, this is not It's not even close to reality.
The
Like
radical left.
it is. It's not radical. It's like the fantasy left.
Fantasies of
It's like it's like you read the New York Times and I read the New York Times, the Washington Post, and whatever. These people, they don't read the Daily Beast. They read the Daily Least. Like it's shit they're making up out of thin air. Newsweek can't make up shit fast enough to keep up with them.
Yeah, no, it's a unique.
You have to filter that somehow.
It's a unique base. I have been interested in watching kind of the black segment, or like what some would say the simplified black Twitter going over there. And that
it's migrating slower though than I would have hoped.
Yeah, but it feels reminiscent, and engagement seems like engagement seems more authentic. Which obviously it is, because
Michael Harriot's still posting on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so like that's the thing, is like when he moves. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, again, they seen a huge uptick, I would say, over probably the last 6 weeks, maybe more so. Like
after the election, they saw a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And the thing,
there's a terms and agreement change around X as well that pushed it. And then,
also it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the other
Twitter does not work. It is ad after ad after ad. I can't read even like the sports stuff that I want to on there.
No, it's impossible.
It's just garbage. And the Blue Sky is working pretty well. And the story here is really that the journalists who are using this as a way to get their stories out, because there's no limits on links, there's no limits on the videos and things like that. They are seeing on their metrics on the back end a lot of traffic that originated on Blue Sky.
I'll say this as examples for that. The bigger stories that have broken over, I guess, the last like 72 hours, I have seen first break on Blue Sky before I've gotten my New York Times, Washington Post. A United Healthcare CEO saw that on Blue Sky.
The South Korea thing, I
South
definitely
Korea,
saw on Blue Sky first.
on Blue Sky first. What else was on that? There was another thing that I was like, oh, like maybe.
Then I kept refreshing the post app to try to see.
Gates I saw on Blue Sky first. So like, that to me is kind of a gauge when I can see the breaking news happen there first, and then maybe 15 minutes later, the New York Times, the like standard publications drop that. Then I'm like, oh, okay, it's starting to function that way. I think it'll be interesting to see, and not it sounds terrible, but like what responses look like in natural disaster, like what it looks like.
Because Twitter was that trusted source that like the FEMA account would tell you what's going on.
And worldwide, right? I think if you look at something like Syria right now, I haven't seen it yet. Like, will we start to see like
citizen journalism from conflict zones? Yeah.
Which again, if you think of the Arab Spring and what happened in Egypt, like
that was driven a lot by Twitter.
So those are like I guess I don't know if they're bellwethers, but like
when will food trucks get on Blue Sky and use that? Because that was
early
Twitter. Yeah.
But the engagement feels different. And I've like more of like, oh, I'm always interested in watching how like other humans interact with other humans, and social media in environments like what Blue Sky is right now, where it was really small and it's starting to grow. I've always found it interesting to watch those organic conversations. Like I can remember like early on Twitter where I was just like added like Raekwon something, like he responded back to me, and it was like, wow, that's different.
Yeah.
And I think
it's facilitating some of those conversations. It's also like it's kind of interesting to watch as culture develops.
Yeah.
So like, what do you call a post on Blue Sky?
Skeet.
Yeah, but there's a lot of argument now about that. People
don't
want to call it that.
Yeah, but it's so that's where I find these things interesting.
I like watching the debate about this.
Because like I remember getting on there a year ago and people always talking about these things being called skeets.
Yeah.
And for me as well too, obviously, right? Like kind of like, okay, what? Like, but I've tried to be someone who's been like accepting to, like, I am new into whatever this is, right?
Yeah, so I'm not going to bring my biases
into it. Like,
ride along.
Exactly, like it's different. Like it is.
It's also funny to watch people be like OG Blue Sky And
yeah,
like trying
and
to
who are going to
teach
be
people,
the gatekeepers? Like, who
Yeah.
are going to be the people who want to accept people in?
this is how you
like-
should talk about it. Don't call people that. Don't at this
I think,
person.
like,
whatever.
I'll give another example of something that like I try to make sure I do is like for the pictures. If I put a picture up, I try to put alt text up.
yeah,
Right, and that's something
I
that's
always skip
different.
that step. But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But that's a muscle that again, like I'm trying to like flex for like the platform
get used to it.
Exactly, and like also too, I think like the way feeds can be curated is interesting.
I still haven't really learned how to do that.
But like for instance, like there's a book sky, right? And like I can look at like everything
For
that,
nerds,
yeah, like that. But like for instance, like I'm blanking on his last name. It might be Frazier, but the dude Rudy who kind of created like the black sky, right? And that feed, like when I initially got on, you could ask to be added to it, and then anything I post automatically will get posted to that. So I think that can also happen for these other feeds as
yeah,
well.
I haven't really learned how all that works yet. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
sort
I
of-
think it's interesting because, like, all right, it's the next social media that, you know, outside of TikTok,
until it gets overwhelmed by a bunch of racist bots and
that will happen.
yeah,
I think, and that's like, that's the scary part is because then, like, right,
use
the journalists, all
Matt's
these
AI
news-
thing to fix it.
There you go.
Just be like, hey, how do we fix that?
Better things in place though early to try to prevent some.
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
that. Like they're not doing any training on AI at all from
Right.
the content. I think that's
And they're not
huge.
selling the content.
Not
for
selling it,
scraping.
so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so more tech news. Telegram is signed a deal with one of the sort of internet police outfits, the IWF,
Finally.
to try to mitigate some of the rampant child porn that's going all over that platform.
Because they want to exist.
Yeah. So the real question is, did the Interpol thing where they basically put the warrant out for Durov and they were like, if you set foot out of Dubai or wherever he's hiding, we're going to arrest you because your platform allows all this to happen. And he's like, all right, I'll cut a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is,
It's
right?
a smart thing. Yeah.
Hey, that's how rule of law works occasionally. Okay. Now it's time for sports.
Uh-oh,
Do,
you're
do,
dressed
do,
up.
do. Okay, so obviously the big story is that Michigan won.
You won the national championship.
We did last year. That is true.
No, you won it this year too.
We beat Ohio.
Yeah.
That is our national championship.
Bad Michigan team beat Ohio.
So, you know, as a Michigan fan, as one of the things that, you know, we'll be very clear about this. We can go 1-13
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
as long as that one is Ohio.
Yeah.
We just need to beat Ohio. And coaches have been fired with
Yeah.
winning records
Yes.
who go to bowl games, win bowl games because they can't beat Ohio. And
On the
that's-
flip, for not beating Michigan,
it goes the other way.
yeah,
Right?
that might happen this year.
So Ohio coaches who are successful and get to national championships and routinely make the playoffs, but cannot beat Michigan, they often get fired.
Yeah.
You know, and so like Ryan Day is in trouble.
Yeah.
And I am here as a proud fan to say I support you extending his contract and I will contribute money to that. I will help keep Ryan Day in his job in Columbus.
What about the thuggery on the field after these thug police officers with their pepper spray?
Stupid pepper spray. All right, so here's what happened, right? We won this game. We had no business to win this game. We were 20-point underdogs. We won.
Yeah.
Didn't just cover, we won, right? And this is college football. There is a thing that basically everybody does, especially in a big game, is you get one of your big old flags, you run to the middle, and you plant it in the middle of the logo.
It's got to be outlawed along with people rushing the field.
Bullshit.
It's got to be outlawed.
It's
got to
great-
be outlawed.
It's a good thing
because you know why? Again, and
because Ohio people can't handle
no,
losing.
across no, like regardless,
Texas did it to us earlier this year. We
Yeah.
didn't freak out about
like I know,
it.
yeah, but
We're just like,
maybe
We know.
it should maybe, but like because. And this is Bomani Jones' take, but it goes back to disrespect will not be tolerated. And that is the height, and I know everybody's
it
like,
is meant to be disrespectful.
exactly. But if you do something disrespectful, and it's also it's after the game. It's not during the game.
It is
right?
still part of the game.
It's after the game. The game is finished, right? The game is finished. It's over with, right? And if you lose, I know everybody's like, all right, well, stop them on the field. You don't have to worry about that. But okay, sometimes that doesn't happen. But if you can do the most disrespectful thing, which is plant these flags, and you don't see this shit in the pros, because we already know, specifically with professional football, these people are already crazy. You see when Myles Garrett was throwing, when he had his helmet swinging around, when things get amped up.
I've seen it in the pros.
What, Terrell Owens?
Yeah.
And what happened?
I mean,
someone ran him down and pushed, because again, disrespect won't be tolerated, right? That is what it is. And aren't you putting this in turf, not grass? That don't work either. Stupid.
All right.
Let's stop both this and the people running on the field.
I understand your complaint. I get it. But then again, it's like what.
Or let them fight.
No.
You have to take your L.
If you put it's too disrespectful to be like, no.
Here's the disrespect. Here's the disrespect. The disrespect, it was pretty much a double disrespect. One, Michigan beat Ohio State.
In Columbus.
Added the insult injury, you plant your flag in the middle of the field. So that's, I get to the fact that, the thing is here is like a lot of people say, you can't handle defeat. You can't. It has, and the thing is,
do winners have any responsibility to win a certain way?
No.
Act like you've been there, right?
No. Unless we say that, but at the same
Next
time it's
you
like
defend a bat flip, I'm gonna remind you that you said that.
Yeah. So
people argue that.
They can argue all they want, but in the end, it's like pretty much here's the worst aspect. We view the fans more into this rivalry. We never, they kind of fuel all this, and seeing the fact is like, look, you got these historical battles going on.
This is literally a war.
Yeah, it's constant.
War
and like you said, when Texas did it, it was like, oh, whatever. Because mind you, this is the first year they're dealing with Texas. It's like, okay, whatever. But when Ohio
matter the same way.
No, that's the point. That is the point.
The disrespect thing is like, look, okay, is it disrespectful to plant the flag? Yes, but you know what else? We get to spend the rest of this year bringing it up. Every time they look at us, if they go to the playoffs and they win a game, and they're gonna be like, but you know what? You lost to Michigan.
Be careful, everyone, because think back to European football 90s going into the 2000s, right? And eventually, right, if you allow these type of things to continue on, and eventually this spills over just once. And I think it's a combination of...
You mean like when Michigan State attacked and assaulted our players and ended up catching like 5 charges?
Yeah, and imagine, though, European football, visiting fans. Like, I think you could go into, right, Buckeye territory, right? And you could sit in the stadium. You wouldn't need to be in a supporters section.
Right.
That you don't have to do in America.
Okay,
be careful, everybody.
All right, mind you, that is also happening. That's happening in pro sports.
Yeah,
I've seen video where
Giants
one fan,
and Dodgers getting in fights.
Yes,
with each other.
it's just happening.
But it's not. But it's not when like European, where it's like, hey,
oh yeah, I've seen it. I literally see that.
Can't serve beer or drinks because you fucking hooligans can't behave. So you know what you got to do? This is when rules and fucking regulations come in. You protect people from them fucking selves. You say, one, we're not putting no fucking flags.
State over here.
The nanny state.
Man,
exactly.
you hate freedom,
You're
Tez.
not fucking putting this flag in.
There is.
You're not rushing on the field no more.
Okay, one, the rest of the field. Okay, honestly,
throwing them in the fucking river.
Look, look, let's say, as a person who do work at college.
Yeah, you're there.
Okay. There's been one incident. I was involved. Let me say what I gotta say. I've been involved where my staff was involved in a rush-in. It was weird. It was chaos.
Scary.
It's scary. Mind you, I understand for the camera people, yeah, but at the same time, it's good for television. It's good for
and there's the next piece though, because when you look at these fucking reels that they're playing for recruits or ESPN, they're always putting the flag in the middle, and it's like it's this double-edged sword where I'm like,
But here's shit should be outlawed.
But
here's the thing. This is
not part of the game.
It is. You have to think about. Mind you, this has been going on for over 100 years. So you got to understand. It's like
yes, it's happened in the past for 4 years. Like it's happened way before now, but it does feel more prevalent. It feels like a little bit like Baker Mayfield kind of started some of this shit too before, like
it's been happening way before this.
But like
you talk. See, here's the thing.
That's how you know that Tez hasn't been a lifelong college football person.
I'll give her
whole trophies.
Yes,
that are exchanged. You want to talk about disrespect? It's writing your name on the trophy that you get to hold on to and look at. Minnesota hasn't held the little brown jug in 2 decades.
I think those trophies are different than planting the flag, and I'm not saying it hasn't happened since the 40s, the 30s, the 20s.
When you have,
but I feel like it's more prevalent now.
But when you're dealing with 2 iconic rivals, and then and here's the thing: you haven't mentioned the fact that like were 7 games that had incidents like this. You had North Carolina State.
Yeah, nobody cares.
You had Arizona and Arizona State.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, you don't.
Should be outlawed.
No, it's not outlawed because behind you, you're trying to say, hey, we're the king of this state. That's where the fight is. And especially the fact is like, mind you, if you go into basketball, North Carolina, Duke, I don't know why that rivalry is still going because pretty much the guys who pretty much hyped that up are gone. But the point is like the rivalry still continues because based off of the fact that, you know, the fan bases and everything else, they want to see this like, hey, we don't like you, you don't like us, and we're going to keep it like that.
And you can do things like plant the flag and still let it be good-natured. It's part of the thing. It's part of the
you are
getting to do
asking
it.
a lot from people who are practicing violence. Violence. Like, again, they just got off the field from practicing
from bashing each other's heads in.
Violence.
Yeah.
And then they're like, there's a mindset that you have to be in to play
but
football.
You want to know how it feels.
And when they put that flag in there and you're still not out of that mindset, I'm coming to fuck you
I
up.
wasn't out of that mindset. Look, I've lost to Ohio a
You
lot of
probably
times in my
wanna fight
life,
them.
and I'm mad. But I don't smash things in my house, and I don't go looking for people to fight or whatever. And when
But if Ohio State person probably said some slick shit to you on the fucking,
it's happened so many times you can't even count it.
but you
and
probably feel that.
I'm mad, and I go like, look, man. I mean, like fucking whatever. We'll get you next year. I understand it. It's part of the thing. I have the urge. I see some little kid in Ohio thing coming up to me. He's like, I don't know, Michigan. And I'm like, yeah, I want to punch the kid. But you don't punch the kid.
I'll add this. Let me ask you this question.
But hold on. When we won, to flip side of that, I was in my basement with my kids, right? I called my dad. I was so excited. He was out of town. He was watching in a hotel lobby without the sound, but he couldn't, he had to like behave himself or whatever. I was like, Dad, we won. We're so excited, right? And I get off the phone with him. And I crack another beer and I go, kids, we're partying tonight. You can do anything you want. You want to like listen to music at crazy volumes and eat ice cream? We're doing it, whatever. And I was like, you can't tell me shit. I am fucking insufferable already. Imagine. And I just went everywhere looking for trouble. You want to know what I got for my birthday, which was yesterday?
Oh shit, happy birthday.
This jacket. You want to know what's great about this jacket?
It has a lining. I already knew.
That's what's great about this jacket.
I didn't see
it.
it.
And I wore it to work today, and I was like, yeah, you want to see it? Yes. And I'm just going to, like, in anybody's face, and I'm going to, like, run them off the road and be like, yeah, we won. Because that's my right as a fan. And
well, you guys made a comment earlier about this shit feeling like war. And again,
it does.
And that's why I'm saying when you plant this flag and the actual opponent isn't dead because they lost the fucking game, they're not dead. They are going to come and want to fight.
They did it to us, and I'm not like out here complaining.
The police are the issue here. They shouldn't have.
The police getting. I can understand trying to break it up, but throwing a
Columbus police are insane.
But let me add this aspect, or let me ask you this question to both y'all: which is worse? Planting a flag, your team's flag on your opposing teams on their home turf, or seeing the trophy presentation on your home turf to the opposing team.
The flag, the trophy presentation feels more.
Everybody leaves for that.
Yeah. And the flag happens like, as I understand it, really soon after the win.
Right, it happened right
immediately.
away.
And it's too close. That's also why they don't let journalists go in to the damn locker rooms immediately after the games, because there needs to be some type of cool down period for these fucking warriors that are out there bashing their heads against each other. Like it's the same shit there. Like,
What about in baseball? And they're all spraying each other with all the champagne and shit and running around in the locker room.
It's in the locker room. It's not on the field. So
score a goal. You run to the corner and you slide and show your jersey and
But again, European soccer is already
the Lambeau League.
No drinks. Supporter section because they know already how fucking crazy this can get. And I think that's why I say, like, again, I get the pageantry and all that, but be careful because you only are allowed to have a few like mishaps, 1 or 2, before they could drastically change how these events are.
But for whatever your problem with this is, and apparently you hate fun and freedom, and that's all fine.
I hate fun and freedom.
But like, understand that some of these things, these intense rivalries, they also pull people together. Okay, I had several people who are fans of or affiliated with other programs that we don't get along with. Penn State fans, Michigan State fans, calling me, congratulating me, saying, thank God you beat those assholes.
Rallying around hate of another.
Because we don't like them. And that is that, but together, that's the conference. That is the thing. That is why conferences don't matter anymore, but did matter. These rivalries are earned over time, and this is the oldest one there is. And it does come back to a war, which we won. Hence, the UP is part of Michigan and not Wisconsin. Somehow they lost the Toledo War, which was between Michigan and Ohio. But you're not taking this from me. We won this game. I'm going to spend the next year running my mouth, talking shit to everybody who looks like an Ohio person. They don't even have to be. They're wearing the wrong shade of red. And you're like, yeah! And you can't tell me shit. We won.
Just stay off the field. Just stay off the field. You guys can't even have your flag planting. No more people brushing.
All right, watch this. You ready? Chelsea's ahead of the Gunners on the table. How you feel about that?
Go blue.
There you go. See?
Jesus Christ. You guys said that.
And Chuck was right. Chuck sat there on that front. Just to be clear about that, at the beginning of the game, Charles Woodson was the only one to pick Michigan, and he said we're going to win by 3. And stupid Urban Meyer, stupid, fired, unemployable, dumb Urban Meyer glared at him like, are you fucking stupid? And Chuck was like, this is the game, goddammit. And then he apologized for swearing. But you know what he was? Right. He was right. And he gets to be right forever. He gets to look at stupid Urban Meyer and go, yeah, you got to eat that shit, stupid Urban Meyer.
So how about those Blue Devils, though?
Whatever.
They're up by two goals in goal differential. We're tied on points.
They're still ahead of you.
They're still ahead of us. That's fine. Man City has collapsed.
That seems pretty entertaining, actually.
Liverpool has
we won
points. You guys did win.
We beat a soon-to-be relegated Wolves.
Yeah.
It was great. Hung 4 goals on them. It's utterly pointless. Could have saved some of those for one of those other games. But
yeah, I'm not worried. I mean, the test will be, as it always is in the Premier League, the Boxing Day Christmas matches. That's always what it comes down to.
So you don't think there's a lot of intensity? Somebody might have a flag. Or watch out.
Oh, a big Arsenal flag, and they'll be in the Arsenal section, and the people
You're playing Spurs, aren't you?
Yeah,
and Derby.
Derby will be there, and then they'll be in there's a Spurs section. Like, it's okay.
North London Derby.
Yeah,
big fight. Okay, what if like Palace becomes the best team in London? What are you gonna do?
That's not happening. There's
All right.
money involved in this.
Yes,
okay?
yeah. Josh Harris owns that too.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the Washington football team could make the playoffs. We've got
no,
8
they
wins.
will. Let's stop. Like, let's do this. Like, they will make it. I found the what game that I just watched with them. I was like, when they obliterated Tennessee.
Yeah,
and
I
saw a decent amount of that game, and I was like, oh, look at them. I mean,
now, granted, it's against Tennessee.
And the beef is that you haven't beat anybody, right? Like,
right.
So, but that doesn't matter. I mean,
wins are wins. I wanted to get to an 8-8 season and keep Jaden healthy. We've got to 8 wins. All we got to do is keep Jaden Daniels healthy. That will be a victory for me.
Successful season if you didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And
disappointing, but successful.
But let's not put the future of the franchise at risk to go to the playoffs and lose like we did with RG.
Right. I thought it was nice to see Josh Harris on the sideline. I thought that was
there
interesting.
often.
Yeah. Like, it just, I mean, it's a competent now. Soup Club.
We got
Soup
Campbell's
Football Club. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a competent organization.
You know what's going to happen to the O-line? real beefy, chunky.
Oh God, it's a different brand.
Chunky's Campbell's.
Oh, it is. No, you're right. It is
How you
Campbell's.
know
It's,
that?
no, it's a
Campbell's chunky.
It's Campbell's. It's
Yeah,
the
it's chunky.
redefining them after their normal red label. Yes, you're completely right. Sorry about that. No, I'm happy for that team. I hope they do good things.
Tell
And
Donovan McNabb's mom about
I
you.
know. And you know, if we give away the some fighter jets, come to RFK.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Negotiations.
Your favorite mayor's already.
Oh,
in.
that's a done deal.
She's in.
That's gonna be where her and Trump make. They're gonna both put fucking shovels in the ground.
and get
Remember, I said this here. I'm telling you already. Like that's
be the biggest dog park Fenty never built. Okay, it's a really inside DC joke. All right, that's it. We've got to the end of the show. We're on time, according to that clock.
Yeah.
Thanks to Matt and his amazing
Yes.
toilet table. Go get one, toilettable.com. Thanks to our radio partners, Telegram, Blue Sky, and Shouting on the Corner. That's our new
that was a
outlet.
form of. That was usually a form of disinformation.
That's broadcasting.
Yeah,
Thanks to NFTN for keeping us on for another week, maybe. Don't know. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And, of course, thanks to our family here at Beltway Radio for the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
After that, things are changing. We're going remote. But thank you for making us sound as smooth as Pete Hegseth's mom. She was pretty smooth for an old lady, physically. Okay, where can everybody get you on the social medias?
Botox. No, I'm sorry. Construction.
Sorry, Pete's mom.
Sorry, people. You can find me on Instagram at KetchumCordy. I'm not really on X as much anymore, but I'm still there at DC Cortez. And you can find me, as always, with a couple million new folks.
Yeah.
Being a Flaming Liberal on Blue Sky at DC Cortez.
All right, there you go. And you can find me and the show on Twitter occasionally. I'm not there very much anymore. At ChipChatRR, and of course find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat. Still rocking that. And I am on the Blue Sky as well.
Yes.
With my old Twitter handle at Chef Chip. So go check me out and follow me. I got a whole million more followers like in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, there you
Somehow
go.
it was like a crazy thing that happened. I don't even know what I did. But hey, come one, come all, join the party. We're having a good time skeeting all over the place. It's going to be great.
There you go.
It's going to be wild. All right. I'm Chip. That's Tez. That's Brian. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
Street Ball.
Hope you enjoy what we promote.